This episode of the Primal Scream Podcast is brought to you by It Works independent distributor Kathy Sculla. Have you tried that crazy wrap thing? It tightens, tones, and firms any area from the neck down. It Works also provides a wide variety of premium supplements, along with a full skincare line. I personally use their multivitamins and greens, and if you're interested in learning more about It Works products or the business opportunity, call or text Kathy at 319-360-2009 or go to her website, kathysculla.myitworks.com. That's CATHYSKALA.myitworks.com.
All right, we want to thank our sponsor, Sauce Hockey. I love Sauce Hockey because they have super unique clothing. It's all kind of hockey based, but it's not part of any hockey program, so to speak. It's got like cool sayings on their shirts, and again, the most comfortable shirts ever. They have fantastic hats. They have fedoras. They have baseball caps. They have all kinds of stuff. Just a wonderful, wonderful company. We wish them the best because we'd like them to be picked up by the NHL someday. But until then, there's that wonderful little company that everybody loves to get the best frickin' t-shirts in the world from. I just love how comfy they are. Do you like their t-shirts as well?
I love I love all their stuff.
Good. All right. So Sauce Hockey, please pick them up. We want to thank our next sponsor, Eco Lips. They're one of our absolute favorites. Steve Shriver, Entrepreneur of the Year for Iowa. It's his company. They are organic. They're vegan, if you would like. They have some wonderful, wonderful flavors. They can make just about anything you want because they have this incredible thing called create your own Eco Lips called My Eco Lips. So they can put different flavors, different containers, different coats on the outside so you can see what they look like and have your name and be flashy. But they just do wonderful, wonderful stuff. And I personally appreciate the Mongo Lip, which has mint and peppermint, kind of a minty hemp oil kind of thing. I just think it's freaking fantastic. Do you like? What's your favorite?
You said Mango Kiss.
Mango Kiss.
I like the Mango Kiss. I also like the One World.
Oh yeah,
the One World mint.
That eco container.
Yeah, I really enjoy that.
Me too. So please go to ecolips.com and you can check out all their stuff. Steve Shriver's wonderful little daughter has a great video on there as well. So check out ecolips.com.
Another sponsor that we have is Sweet Raw Joy. Go to sweetrawjoy.com. Check it out. Their website is Desserts to Live For.
They're so freaking yummy.
I love Sweet Raw Joy because when you are trying to watch what you eat, trying to eat healthy, but you need something sweet. All of us have those midnight cravings that are super sweet, and we want to get rid of that.
This also goes one step further. You know why?
Why?
Because you don't even have to worry about those things. You want something sweet. You're thinking about maybe having some, regular convection sugar kind of thing. This stuff is easily a dessert that you should eat anytime you want to when you want something sweet. Not just because it's raw, because it tastes fantastic.
And it's super filling. So things that you would normally just sit and eat the whole bag of, you simply can't do that with Sweet Raw Joy. You have a couple pieces of their fudge, boom, you're done. You're full.
Love it.
So go to sweetrawjoy.com and check out your own desserts today. One of our sponsors who helps us out quite a bit is Penguins Comedy Club. Go to penguinscomedyclub.com and you will see all of their comedians for that week that are going to be performing. So if you don't know what you're going to be doing in the Cedar Rapids area, go to penguinscomedyclub.com and check them out. Also, if you want to schedule an entertainer or you need an entertainer for your company or business or get together, go to usaentertainmentagency.com. Our great friend Jeff Johnson runs that, and
he hooks us up with great comedians all the time. We haven't had one yet that hasn't been a blast to talk to.
So you need somebody for entertainment, you need somebody for weddings, festivals, fairs, corporate, media, whatever.
Oh, I want Doug Thompson at a Renaissance festival. That would be great.
How wonderful would that be? Anyway, go to usaentertainmentagency.com to check out more information and get a hold of Jeff Johnson.
Thanks, Jeff.
Wake up. It's time for Primal Scream.
Hey, welcome back to the Primal Scream. I'm Matt.
I am Todd.
And today we have with us Jay Heater and Kent Miskimins. Both of them are Ironman Arizona finishers, right?
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
At no point did you guys quit.
No, just temporarily.
Because, well, you know what? Maybe since they finished, well, they're not champions, so they couldn't be on the bandwagon.
They can't be on the bandwagon.
Can't be on the
but
bandwagon.
that's okay. They
That's all right.
finished.
Yeah.
That's all that really matters.
Hey, first of all, we're going to start off with a little Cards Against Humanity, and then we'll get into some current events. Ready? Todd,
Yes.
explain Cards Against Humanity, please.
All right. Cards Against Humanity. You have 2 black cards, gentlemen. You have 10 white cards. And what we do is a little bit different, is that you put your black cards down, Jay. Don't cheat.
Oh, whoops, sorry.
And so, just kidding. So you
Slap our guest's hand. Wham!
the white cards have answers. The black cards have questions. And we'll all take a turn going around. This is awesome. We have 4 people. It should be a pretty fun,
Yes.
a fun ride.
Excellent.
And so the way that it works is that, so let's say I'm going to go first. I read my black card. You are going to fill in a blank on this question. And you'll look through your white card to see which one you think fits best. Now, these answers are racist. They're sexist. They're gross. They're really
And
disgusting.
you can also answer them nice and sweet and rainbows and puppy dogs. You can do that. But the person who's asking the question, who's reading the black card, he's the judge. So you're trying to manipulate that person.
So you'll see him
pick
trying to
your
mind fuck
answer.
me over and over and over again during this game. He is always trying to see if he can manipulate me. You're a
Yes.
dick about it. I
Yes.
mean, you really try.
By the way, the
to screw
podcast
me.
is explicit. You can swear if you'd like. You don't feel the need if you don't want to, but you can if you like.
That's the best way we communicate, though. Just
Yes.
FYI.
That's because brothers don't hug. Brothers swear at each other and make fun of each other.
Exactly.
Okay, so you always start out Cards Against Humanity with who had the most recent bowel movement. They're the first one to go.
It's
so,
in the rules. This
It's
is
in the rules.
question.
Actual rule book.
About 10 minutes ago.
10 minutes? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I bet
in
you're
your bathroom.
Were you at Target? Where were you? Oh, you're at work.
Took like 6 minutes to get here.
You're at work on Sunday? That's right. You were
I'm off all
the
next
time.
week.
Oh, yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
All right. So can anybody beat 6 minutes ago?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So
Jay.
Yeah, I just did.
hold on a second. I want to go first. I really, really do. All right. So Jay, we're going to go clockwise. But Jay, go ahead and pick one black card and read it for us, please.
Yep. They catch you off guard. Go
No
ahead.
doubt. When Pharaoh remained unmoved, Moses called down a plague of...
When is it the Pharaoh?
Pharaoh, there you go.
The Pharaoh. When the
Yeah.
Pharaoh was unmoved.
Your supervisor? You said?
That's what
Right.
I was not expecting that.
Oh. Okay. Read it again for us, please.
You expect me to repeat that?
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
When Pharaoh remained unmoved, Moses called down a plague of blank.
Oh.
I got it.
Okay. All right. Now, Jay, you have to close your eyes because we're going to throw white cards in your general direction. You can't know who they're coming from.
Oh, okay.
And then you got to pick the one that you think is best. So now you can open your eyes. And when you read off the white cards, read the black card first, and then the white card as the answer, please.
Okay. When Pharaoh remained unmoved, Moses called down a plague of daddy issues. Do I got to reread it every time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. When Pharaoh remained unmoved, Moses called down a plague of a gassy antelope.
A plague of gassy antelope.
When Pharaoh remained unmoved, Moses called down a plague of an outbreak of smallpox.
So which one would you pick? Which one do you think fits the best?
It's really that hard.
Do we have some theme music?
I wish I did have
I'm
some
not
theme
kidding.
music.
If you even hum the Jeopardy theme, you can get in trouble. You can get in trouble.
So is it whatever I want?
Whatever you like.
Whatever you
yeah.
want.
I'm going to go an outbreak of smallpox.
Who was that? Who
God
gave that
damn
card?
it! Who's literal? Okay, so Jay's a literal guy because
All right.
gassy antelope
Antelope.
is a hell of a lot better than smallpox.
Okay, go
Just
ahead.
saying.
Go ahead and give Kent the black card that you just read. That's how we keep score. Whoever has the most black cards
okay.
at the end.
Okay.
Kent,
Turn it over, buddy, so you know that it's not the one you want to read. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, Kent, you're up, bud.
Here we go.
I'll tell you a story about this
this
game
isn't
later
bad.
that'll
This
make
is-
your
this-
skin crawl.
This
Just
isn't
FYI.
bad. This isn't bad.
Okay.
Introducing Extreme Baseball. It's like baseball, but with blank.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Close your eyes, mister. Close your eyes.
You don't want me to read again? You got it.
Hey, I got,
I got it. I got it.
I got mine.
Oh. All right. All right. Go ahead and open your eyes. And read them off for us, buddy.
Okay, here we go.
That question throws you off.
It does.
Introducing Extreme Baseball. It's baseball, but with tentacle porn.
Now, Ken, I know you watch.
What is tentacle porn?
So,
What is a tentacle?
so Japanese in Japan, you
Of
can't
course,
have.
Todd knows. Of course, Todd's like all over it. Well, hey, it's not as
Guess whose card this is?
it's not as risque as you may
This is why.
think.
This is why. Is that? Can you turn my headphones down a little bit, buddy?
Yeah.
Thank you. This is why, because Japan, you can't have scene penetration on porn, but tentacles you can. And so people are drawing like the manga, kind of like cartoon stuff, literally with people that have tentacles, and they see them using tentacles instead of a penis in the porn,
penetration.
and that's okay. But you can't see penises.
That's so odd.
Isn't that weird?
Who thinks of that?
Let
on-
me
it was on
show you
Vi- it was
some
on
really
Vice.
disturbing things, but I can't show you a penis going into
So-
a vagina.
Even more would be great. I don't know why mine are so loud.
Man,
That's
you're
not really
picky.
inappropriate.
Honestly,
A little
it
more-
was like
Oh
two
my God, that's
kicks
the spot.
away from where
That's
you
the
were.
spot. That's the
it was
spot
like
right now.
you're a prima donna with the headphones. All right.
Okay,
All right,
here
Todd.
we go. Introducing Extreme Baseball. It's like baseball, but with having anuses for eyes.
See a theme here.
Okay.
Ken's like, that's terribly inappropriate. Don't care for that.
Introducing Extreme Baseball. It's like baseball with ejaculating live bees, and the bees are angry.
And the bees are what?
Angry.
Are you all right, Todd?
I have to say.
Never. It's rule number one. Never make you laugh when you're drinking something. That's one of my
That
rules.
was on me though. I
was
took
on
a
you.
drink when he read it.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Oh my God, that was great.
Okay, so to me, I'm going to go with, believe it or not, I'm going to go with, because it's so extreme, I'm going to go with the last one. Ejaculating live bees.
Bam.
And the bees are angry.
I'll take that black card, mister, and I'll take the white cards that went with it.
Oh, anuses for eyes. Come on.
And that was pretty good, anuses with
I
eyes.
thought so. All right.
You going to read something?
Oh God, that caught me off guard. That was great. That's my favorite part. Like
We got 2 rounds of this.
Yep.
All right. Go for it.
Oh, it's a twofer. So you get to pick 2 white cards to fill these blanks.
And he will read them. So when you guys lay down your cards, this card, they're both face down. The top card is the first response.
okay.
Okay?
In return for my soul, the devil promised me blank, but all I got was blank. In return for my soul, the devil promised me blank, but all I got was blank. Let me know if you need to hear it again.
Nope. I got mine.
You're fast.
Yeah, read it again.
In return for my soul, the devil promised me blank, but all I got was blank.
You know what? With 4 people, we might have to deal out some more white cards. We got 2 rounds of that.
That's okay. I'll be all right.
All right.
Oh, if we have a lot of twofers, we might have
Yeah,
to.
we might
some
have
more.
to.
It's okay. By the way, Cards Against Humanity, we love you guys because if you go online, you can get their simplest deck is like $25. You can get the whole thing for free.
You can download it for free.
You can download it for free and print them off, but we don't want to do that. You want to give them $25 as they give their money to charity.
Are your eyes closed?
They're fantastic. Yes, they are.
Okay.
Oh,
So, Cards Against Humanity is a great thing. You can get the bigger, blacker box, which is over by Matt.
That's 17
21 inches.
17 ounces of pain and pleasure.
It's the best.
That's how I like to introduce myself to ladies that I don't know. Hi, I'm Matt, and I have 17 ounces of pain and pleasure.
Metric.
Metric. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Open your eyes.
Okay.
Play with us.
All right. I'm so excited. In return for my soul, the devil promised me Daniel Radcliffe's delicious asshole. But all I got was getting so angry you pop a boner. God, that seems like you. I don't know about that one. In return for my soul, the devil promised me altar boys, but all I got was powerful thighs. Oh, that's a good one. That's good. In return for...
You know what's funny? My youngest son just played that the other day. That exact combination.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. My kids don't play this. Don't let your kids play this game.
I heard a kid say that. Well, oh, my parents play that? Why I watch TV? I'm like, oh, man. In return for my soul, the devil promised me my ex-wife, but all I got was cupping a feel. Oh, that's smart.
You know what? If you
that's an intellectual one.
You know
I'm
what? Though,
thinking
if you
a lot
were to
about
switch
it.
those answers, read it again, but
In
with the
return
answers
for my
switched.
soul, the devil promised me cupping a feel, but all I got was my ex-wife.
There you go. There you go. Really which means you're not getting any feeling.
I'm going to go with Altar Boys.
That was me. Thank you very much.
Who had Daniel Radcliffe's delicious asshole?
Me, but how?
Wow.
Well done, buddy. I like that one.
Can I get the white cards, please? Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, dude.
It's my turn. I'm going to
your
read
turn.
something, and I'm
Let's
going to
do it.
own it. What did Vin Diesel eat for dinner? Very simple. What did Vin Diesel eat for dinner? All right, my eyes are closed. Let me know when I'm ready, or when you're ready. I'll be ready. You're right. We really need some theme music during this downtime. Because, like you found out, Todd, the other day, somebody does listen to this while they drive to work in their car.
You're good to go.
Oh, we're good. Here
But
we go.
if you actually hum the Jeopardy theme song, we can get sued just for humming it.
If they were to find us online. Okay. What did Vin Diesel eat for dinner? Neil Patrick Harris. I could see that.
Oh, I like him.
I could totally see that happening.
Great actor.
All right, here. What else?
You should find a more awkward position to find yourself in there.
Yeah, I should put myself in some yoga poses. All right. What did Vin Diesel eat for dinner? The heart of a child.
Ooh. It's kind of dark.
You know what? Before he did, what was it? The Nanny? What was it? What movie did he do where he totally chopped off his penis and acted like a big wuss?
I don't know.
The Caregiver,
Well, the Rock did the Tooth Fairy. That's the only thing I can think of.
This guy actually played a nanny.
Oh,
Like he was
I have
a
no
CIA.
idea.
Well, doesn't matter. What did Vin Diesel eat for dinner? A falcon with a cap on its head. I'm gonna go with a falcon with a cap on its head. All right, Jay. Because that just seems really masculine to me.
It is masculine. Though if he ate the heart of a child, that'd be pretty sweet too. That was pretty good.
Well, that'd make him a dick. Not very masculine.
All right, Jay, it's your last black card. Yep.
What's the new fad diet?
Oh, that's good. I haven't heard this one before. What's the new fad diet?
We're gonna have to dish out some more white cards.
Oh, I think I'll be okay.
No, I'm not. Go ahead and pull out some more.
Oh, did you have bad cards?
I only have a few. Okay, we're ready to go, Jay.
What's the new fad diet? Alcoholism?
Because if you drink enough,
What's the new fad diet? The penny whistle solo from My Heart will go on. I don't even know this one. What's the new fad diet? Sapuka?
that's
What is that?
Harry Carey. It's Harry Carey. Do you guys ever remember hearing Harry Carey? It's the old Japanese thing where you plunge a dagger into their
You
stomachs and
gut
drag
yourself
it across.
as a suicide and honor suicide. There's 3 more for just you.
There's some three fresh ones.
3 fresh ones. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you
I'm going
think,
to go
Jay?
with alcoholism.
Oh, who is alcoholism?
Me.
Oh,
Nice.
Todd got one.
Finally. I've been schooling you for a while. So
Yeah, you
that's
have.
good.
You've been on
Thank
fire.
God. Thank God I got one. I can lose and be happy now. So
Okay, here we go. What's my secret power?
You know what's weird? That was a question I was going to ask you later. What's your secret power?
Nice.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's a good one. Also that. All right.
All right, you're
Go
up.
ahead, Kent.
Oh, man. This is pretty good. So,
do you like it?
Yeah.
What is that?
what is this? I don't know.
What?
Back Pocket Brewing.
Brewer?
Bottle
Brewing?
Brewing. Back Pocket Brewing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what's my secret power? Not reciprocating oral sex. Okay. Was my secret power a 55-gallon drum of lube?
Very slippery around.
I see a theme.
What's my secret power? Jumping out at people. This is tough. This is a tough one.
They're all simple but nice.
Yeah. I'd say jumping out at people.
That's me. That's me over here.
Oh, come on.
I'll take all the white cards and that black card.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
All right.
Gold coin, by the way. What was the name of that beer? All right.
Are you guys going to perchance go to the Brrr Festival in Coralville? BRRR Festival.
There's going to be they're busing people from White Star Ale
It's
House.
already those buses are already
full.
They're already full.
Wow, they were busing people from Cedar Rapids
people,
all the way to
two
Coralville.
buses.
But it's how many breweries is going to be?
I'm not sure. We could bring that up in a little
It's a
bit.
tasting. You just go down there and sample all these beers.
Oh, my.
Well, they have beers like that.
No, I know. But
Oh, okay.
that
Be
could
a long
mess.
day. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a long day. I can't wait. All right. In 1,000 years, when paper money is a distant memory, how will you pay for goods and services? God, I haven't heard this before. This is great. In 1,000 years, when paper money is a distant memory, how will we pay for goods and services?
Your eyes shut? You're not cheating? You're a cheater. That's why I'm asking. All
Yeah, that's me. A cheater.
right, cheater McCheater.
Everybody happy?
Go ahead.
Okay. In 1,000 years, when paper money is a distant memory, how will we pay for goods and services? Mm-hmm. Same-sex ice dancing.
Blades of Glory.
That's awesome. In 1,000 years, when paper money is a distant memory, how will we pay for goods and services? A kiss on the lips.
So subtle.
Gentle. Ew. Don't do that. In 1,000 years, when paper money is a distant memory, how will we pay for goods and services? 2 midgets shitting in a box.
Dude, do you have any idea the street value of 2 midgets right now?
They're extremely valuable.
They're extremely valuable.
Very rare. Especially two.
Oh my God. I love ones that
two
catch
in a
me off
box.
guard.
Yeah, you throw in shitting in a box.
Good luck. In the cold of winter.
Oh, God damn it. Same-sex ice dancing is so good, but
But
two
the shitting in
midgets
a box.
shitting in a box caught me off guard.
Who possibly could have given you that one, Todd?
Yeah. Shut up.
What? Oh, so that's not it?
Yeah,
Kiss
I'm going
on
to go
lips?
with my gut and do 2 midgets because it made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, that's pretty
Good
good.
job,
Kent is
buddy.
pulling out all the stops.
Yeah,
He's really
Thank you.
He knows his
surprising
audience.
me today.
He knows his audience is what he knows.
Oh my God.
He knows who he's dealing with. All
All
right.
right, last one. Here we go. How am I maintaining my relationship status? How am I maintaining my relationship status? Let's finish off on a good note. So, Todd, the other day when you asked, when that guy said, "Yeah, I love your podcast. I listen to it on my way to work." Did that surprise you?
No, it didn't surprise me. But I like to hear positive things because we're in a bubble. We don't really hear a lot of stuff.
That's true.
So
And
when I hear somebody make a point of saying to me, "Hey, we really like it," or "I really like it," I like hearing that.
what the answer I wanted to hear was, I started laughing because that's what Matt says all the time, and I think he's a retard.
Okay, you can open.
Are we
your
ready?
eyes. Yes.
Here we go. How am I maintaining my relationship status? Screaming like a maniac.
I like that. That's awesome.
That actually is what I do now. How am I maintaining my relationship status? Cock.
That's it.
Show him the card.
It is. Yeah.
Cock. Sometimes that's the best way to maintain it. Listen, I did a lot of crazy shit. Here's my cock. How am I maintaining my relationship status? Vomiting mid blowjob.
Oh,
Nice.
God, that's really good.
There's just something about when you convulse, certain things tighten up that you don't think are going to tighten up. That's it. I really, you know what? I wish I could just throw them all together and give everybody a point because they're so awesome. The vomiting mid blowjob strikes a chord with me, but I'm going to have to just go with cock.
Just
Just
simple.
straight up.
Oh,
That's
man.
it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this round of Cards Against Humanity.
Who won?
I had 3.
I had one.
He took it.
I took
2
it.
and 2.
2.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Once again.
Oh, don't get cocky.
Once again.
You don't want all the blanks.
No, I don't want all the blanks. There you go. All right. That's Burrfest right here. 2015 Burrfest. So if you guys wanted to check out, they have brewers from all over the place. You can check that out on Facebook. Burrfest. Coralville Burrfest 2015.
Yep.
Let's get on to what we're going to talk about first. Well, we're going to have
Which
to
is
pause.
the opposite of drinking beer because...
No, because we're going to talk about some current events. I want you to mention something first, right?
Okay, so what really... This is the only current event that really
Bothered you a lot.
chapped my hide.
Chapped your ass.
Is that Congressman Andy Harris from Maryland. So 70% of D.C.
Voted for
legalized marijuana.
the majority of people
Yeah,
wanted
not
it.
medical marijuana, but just like Colorado and Washington, just done deal.
Right.
It's legal.
Yeah.
And so he slipped in some kind of language into the spending bill that is going to stop that from happening. And they are saying, according to who pays him money, who gives him the most financial campaign contributions, are pharmaceutical companies and alcohol companies. And they have stopped a majority of people who voted for something from happening because he's being paid off
You know
to
what,
do
though?
so.
He looks like a really sweet guy. He looks like just a very nice, normal.
I'm sure he's a wonderful person.
He could be my next door neighbor. I might shovel his driveway for him.
I think that's the hard part is you find these individuals who I mean, people talk about being around Clinton or H.W. Bush. You know, they're good people to talk with and hang
Sure.
out with.
Sure.
But do you think that it goes back to the old adage of money corrupts completely kind of thing? If somebody's going to give you $100,000. Hey,
Listen,
slip in this line, and we're going to give you $100,000.
I don't know how Kent and Jay feel about this. You and I have talked about the legalization of marijuana in the past, so our listeners know how we feel about it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And me personally, I feel like nobody has a right to tell me what to do with my own body, even if I want to shoot straight up heroin in a bedroom in my house. If I was a single man and I shot up some crazy ass drugs in my veins, but when I left my home completely straight, completely sober, went about my business, never hurt anybody, never broke any laws, then who are you to tell me what I can or cannot experience with my own body? Right? That's kind of how I feel. Now I know people are going to say, well, when you take drugs, and a lot of times it doesn't just happen like that. Somebody shoots heroin and they're addicted to heroin, and their lives fall apart.
Or they hurt their kids, you know.
Right.
That kind of.
Right. But once that happens, that's when I feel like they technically break the law. And when we have laws that it's almost like there's a movie with Tom Cruise, The Minority Report. They're arresting people before they commit a crime. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like the laws against drugs is like the Minority Report. Well, if you do that drug, we're going to arrest you, because if you do the drug, you possibly might commit an actual crime later on. So we know that might happen, so we're going to arrest you ahead of time.
Well, and I think the bigger problem is people have a feeling that marijuana is just a plant that grows on the ground. But I guess the same thinking can be done for poppy fields, and that's where cocaine comes from. And I mean,
Right.
But I mean, somebody's saying, you know, this is a plant that grows. I can plant in my backyard. You can't tell me not to use it, kind of thing.
Right. And also, I mean, I gave an extreme example of heroin. Right?
You always,
I
you
like
always
to-
give the
I
subtle,
like to go
easy example.
far with things. But with marijuana, there's never been one case that has been reported of overdosing and dying on marijuana. So just with marijuana itself, I feel it's very silly to have something that's illegal that has never killed anybody and is no worse. In fact, is a lot better for you than, say, alcohol or cigarettes. Because there's a lot of studies right now that are talking about if you have a traumatic brain injury, smoking marijuana within so many hours,
3 hours.
within 3 hours, actually helps with the recuperation of damaged
Cells and-
brain cells, which is a complete juxtaposition to, oh, you're a stoner.
Yeah.
You're dumb. You've lost all these brain cells, right?
Or think about all these NFL players who they say that over 50% of NFL players self-medicate with marijuana for pain, just for pain, not about anything else, you know? And of course, we think they're all just a bunch of hooligans.
Hooligans. Great word from the 50s there, Todd.
No more ballyhoo, you hooligans.
Ballyhoo?
Ballyhoo, you ever heard that term before?
No.
Okay.
Let's move on. Ballyhoo. All right, so that was our current event. How do you guys feel? Do you guys want to weigh in on how you feel about this whole? I mean, whether you're for or against marijuana, we don't have to necessarily talk about that. But how do you feel about the majority of the way our political system is supposed to work? If the majority of your constituents want something, and you're supposed to represent your constituents, shouldn't he be obliged to vote positively for that? Jay, what do you think?
I would agree. You know, there's a lot, like you showed the numbers of the money. It's all about the money for those guys, in my opinion.
It has to be.
Who's funding them? You know, they want the big people want their vote.
Right.
Want them to push things through.
I think it also says something about the positiveness of marijuana. Most people want it. And so big money is coming after, pharmaceutical companies are coming after it saying, okay, so this is a big deal. So we need you to insert this little thing. We're going to give you cash for it. It says something to me about marijuana in and of itself that it really is probably a positive thing, because why would they fight so hard against it? Right. It's like if it made the same comment about people who are like really hardcore born again Christians. They just, give you so much shit. Well, why are you having to work? So why are you having to work so hard to defend your? Let me finish my thought.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, why are you having to defend your position so hard that you're anti what I'm thinking? When if you really believe that way, awesome, that should be wonderful for you, and you shouldn't have to be
why are you
so angry and
me?
upset and attacking me for it. Kind of.
All right, let's play this out because I'm still a little confused. Let's say I'm a born again Christian, just crazy fanatical Christian. You're saying I'm attacking you, or I'm outside protesting because Todd wants to have an abortion.
Okay,
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
because it's hateful.
It's hateful. Sometimes, not all people are like that, but I mean, sometimes it's a very hateful message. And if you have it to defend your point of view so mean, in such a mean way, it says something about your philosophy and the way you think about religion, in my mind.
Interesting.
No? Maybe I probably did a horrible job of framing it. That's probably what it is.
I'm just saying sometimes when you talk, it's dumb.
Okay.
No, I think that was actually a good point. I'm just giving you a hard time. But
thank you for
Kent, what do you think? I mean, do you think that that's a legitimate thing? Do you think that this guy should be possibly voted for the next election when something so clearly comes out that he did not represent? And let's take marijuana off the table. Let's think of it as any other bill. It could be healthcare. It could be anything that you're passionate about. Let's say there's something that what's one thing politically, what's one thing that you care a lot about?
I would say healthcare.
Okay.
Healthcare.
So the current healthcare system, or just healthcare in general? I
think for me it is what's going on behind the scenes that the public's really not aware of. I think with this case here, I'm reading a great book right now. Can I give the name of the book?
Yeah,
please.
Sure.
There's a great book called Selling Sickness, and I'm reading it right now. And it explains basically how there's certain marketing firms that are trying to come up with new diseases for us. So we're all kind of lumped into one big, so we're all sick at some point, even though we're not really sick. And so, but it all boils down to money,
Right.
So that's bothersome for me because, you may have depression, but it's not abnormal for some. If you lose a loved one, it's actually normal to go through certain stages. Well, now through marketing, you're made to feel like that's abnormal, and you better get on some kind of pharmaceutical drug.
Huh. Right.
They talked about high cholesterol in there and blood pressure, and what they're doing now is, which I find fascinating, they keep lowering the blood pressure limits. So now it's down to like 115 over 65, which now lumps even more people into the group of pre-high blood pressure, high blood pressure, therefore selling more drugs. Same with cholesterol. That book's really interesting. In there they had, on the committee, on the board for the cholesterol numbers, 8 out of 9 of them on there all had financial ties to the pharmaceutical industry. There's a gentleman there who had multiple ties to the pharmaceutical industry. So as soon as they lowered the cholesterol numbers, then the next day it says in there how many thousands of people actually now became a patient. So
Wow.
It's really interesting.
Do you think these people are like? Do you think? Do you think they're actually?
That actually kind of. I want you to ask your question, so don't forget it. But that actually ties back to what you do for a living, right?
Right.
All right. So ask your question, buddy, and then I want to see how that actually touches on what Jay does.
Okay. Do you think these people are consciously going? This is the part that I kind of worry about. Do you think these people go, okay, I made $1 off these guys, so I got to sell whatever shit they're selling? Or do you think they're believing part of what they're being fed from these companies? Hey, listen, we did the study. This is what it's showing. We really need for you to push this through because, hey, people are now having more issues. Or do you think somebody, I mean, I don't hate to think of the evil person rubbing their hands saying, oh, yeah, I got my $100,000 or I got my money or whatever it is, and now I'm going to start pushing this idea? Or do you think people are like going, okay, well, this company is saying that blood pressure needs to be at this level, or are they all doctors and they should know better? I mean, I wonder some more in-depth kind of where these people are coming from.
Well, it's clearly, they talk about the CEO of Merck Pharmaceuticals in that book, and his vision was to become like Wrigley, and Wrigley, what he's saying is everybody should be able to chew gum. Everybody chews gum. Everybody has snack foods that they can snack on. Everybody should have a pharmaceutical in there. So it's clearly money driven. Now, I take care of a few physicians who come to me, and some of them, because of this stuff that's going on in healthcare, they will not see the pharmaceutical representatives anymore because they're actually starting to realize that many of the studies that you're reading or that they're reading or they're presented were funded by the pharmaceutical companies. So the argument comes, is there other findings skewed? And in fact, they probably are.
Now, this is going to seem a little weird, but I do that a lot. Mm-hmm. I promise to bring it full circle. I've enjoyed this last season of Madam Secretary, I think is with Tia Leone.
Yeah.
She's hot. I just love the way she looks. Because I'm a pig. I'm an alpha male pig. But one of the things that she came across, one of the episodes dealt with the Alaska pipeline. And she was supposed to, they handed her a memo of a report, of some type of report, thousands of pages long, and they said, you need to vote on this. You need to declare a position on this tomorrow. I mean, who can do that? 1,000 pages and truly understand it within a day, which is what they actually did with the latest spending bill that came out on a Tuesday night at 10 o'clock. They had to vote on it Thursday morning. But in that episode, she actually started breaking it down and researching it, and then she said, okay, who wrote it? All right. And now who paid you? Who actually paid you guys to create this? And it was the oil company. So then she's like, okay, well, if I would have known that the oil company funded these people to write a paper that's pro-oil, that throws the whole argument. It's completely biased. And I have to throw this out. So I can't vote for this. But it's like people trying to buy those votes. It's like, well, no, we've had some clinical scientific studies. All right, well, who paid for those studies? Right. Who funded it? Oh, it's the people that want you to say yes or no. Yeah. You just can't have that stuff. So again, I watch some stupid, crazy television show, but it brings home to me, so we do need to look at this a little bit closer. Who put whatever in the spending bill and who funded that person to put that in the spending bill? Is there more to it than just that? So Selling Sickness, huh? That was a pretty good book.
I think social media has done a good job too. Yeah. I totally interrupted you again. Sorry.
No, I'm good.
With what? What do you mean?
With bringing, I mean, I would have never seen that thing about the congressman unless Joe Rogan had posted on Facebook about that guy stepping in specifically to put the liner notes in a bill.
And just
saying that.
Right.
And I wouldn't have known that otherwise.
Just as a caveat, I love that word. It makes me sound smart.
It does.
But just as a caveat, when you hear certain things, you need to be able to research it for yourself. Right. And I think that is one of the most amazing skills today is to be thoughtful enough and to be smart enough to know how to investigate claims that you see on media, commercials. Let me research that. Oh, actually, the true answer is this. I don't think I really honestly don't think the majority of people know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. So when I see something on the internet and it goes against what, say, maybe Fox News says, it goes against them, I'm like, oh, that's the real answer. Maybe it's not, because I don't truly know how to research it. I think those people that fact check are amazing, and I wish I had that type of skill. I wish everybody kind of knew how to back up and fact check that stuff. Now, all this stuff kind of, this podcast originally, when we asked you guys to come on, was about triathlons. I do love to hang out and talking about other things, and we will get to the triathlon stuff. But just
do you have a question for Jay? You had a question.
Yeah, just with what Kent was saying about this book, how does that influence what is your job? What does your company do? And then how does that actually tie into some of the things that Kent was saying?
Well, it's funny because Kent and I have had a lot of talks during our traveling times, during Ironman training. But for what I do, it doesn't come into play a lot because we administer self-funded health plans. So essentially, employer groups over the size of 50 to however many thousands or 100,000s pay for their claims through their own pocket or premiums, where our biggest competitor is Blue Cross. So where other employers, they just pay Blue Cross pays their claims. Well, we have staff that process the claims according to the health plan that the company purchases. And then what I do is I deal with vendors or partners that we call partnerships that review our claims for editing, high risk, high cost, because unfortunately in the world we live in, 5% of an employer group's population absorbs that cost that makes our healthcare costs go so high. So, your people that have cancers and stuff, it's not the normal Joes that go to the doctor once a year. It's the people that are truly sick. Mm-hmm. But it's funny, as Kent said that.
Do you need some water?
No, I'm good. I got beer.
Okay.
But
Which I need another one.
It was funny because we just had our test, blood work done, and had high cholesterol. And I'm like, how can I have high cholesterol? All the training I'm doing. I was like, well, I eat like crap, so it boiled down. But it was funny because then it boils down to the blood work where it's like, it used to be 120 and 80 used to be the zone, I think.
For blood pressure?
Yeah. And then, I'm always right on the high end. And the next thing I know, it's like, well, we're going to fix the numbers so it's not so high. I'm like, when did it drop?
Yeah.
So it's on my side, we don't see that too much because, everybody has a little bit of some type of health issue, but we're really trying to help control the cost for the really sick people that the employee group has, whether it's, managing case management or, there's fraudulent billing out there that kind of is where I deal with cost containment. Mm-hmm. And, we have business partners that we work with that do code editing and negotiations for us because, I can go to University of Iowa and 56% discount. Well, to me, why are you billing so much? If you're going to give us 56% discount, doesn't make any sense. But like Kent says, there's the other side of the world, and that's where I'm at with Obamacare is people don't understand that what drives a lot of this is what health plans are being charged.
And do you have a preference? Did Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act affect you in positive, negative ways, or did it not really have anything?
It didn't really affect us,
Okay.
Not at all, because most of the clients that we deal with know the risk that they're getting into by self-funding their claims. Because if they have a catastrophic, $1 million, $2-3 million, they're going to have to fund that stuff.
Sure.
Now, all of us have a personal connection with the healthcare industry. Mm-hmm. It's part of your job with insurance. Kent is a chiropractor. Todd won't talk about it, but he has a personal interest, so do I, or connection. And did you ever at any time read this article by Time Magazine by Stephen Brill, Bitter Pill, Why Medical Bills Are Killing Us?
It's like 10 to 15 pages long.
It's an absolutely fantastic article And when the Affordable Health Care Act or the Affordable Care Act was coming out, and people were calling it Obamacare, when that was coming out, people were freaking out, right? And they were trying to, how I look at it is down the river, at the end of the problem, they're trying to figure out a solution, right?
Right.
And that's what Stephen Brill is saying is everybody's angry at the insurance companies. You know, that's the first group that people look at to be angry with. God damn it, my premiums are going up. Why is this costing so much every year? You know, my paycheck isn't going up. I'm not getting paid any more an hour, but my healthcare is going up. My insurance is going up. I can't go to any place I want to. My, what's it called? The group that falls in. My network is getting smaller, or it has changed. Mine recently changed, starting January 1st. But then when this article came out in 2013, Stephen Brill is talking about, okay, I want, healthcare is such a mystifying subject. I want to take a handful of people, and all I want to do is take their bills, their hospital bills, and I want to backtrack them, and I want to understand them. So when there's a code put in for this treatment, I want to keep working my way up the chain of command and figure out, why does one pill of Tylenol cost $6 when I can go out and buy a whole bottle, right? And to me, it takes almost all of the anger and the resentment off of the insurance companies, and it places them back at the beginning of the problem, which is health care providers, actual hospitals, clinics, doctors, nurses. When you get that treatment done, it's saying, well, why does that cost so much? Right. If you have an MRI machine, I mean, I understand starting a business, buying a piece of equipment, and I know that over time that's going to depreciate, right? But I also know that if I buy a piece of equipment for $2,000 and I charge everybody that uses it, I charge them $100, pretty soon that piece of equipment is paid off. And now it's just straight up profit. Well, Peter Brill talks about, hey guys, I know we're focusing on Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, and we all want to be mad at the president, but why don't we take a look at why are we being charged so much? And here's six individuals, real case studies, where all I did as a reporter was I took their bills and I went back to the hospitals where they got treated, and I said, why? And eventually they get to a point, they get to a position where they're like, that person just sets the price.
Right.
Well, how do they come up with the price? That they just set the price.
What was the term they called that person? I can't remember what it was called.
I'd have to scroll to the very end of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you want to check it out, type in Bitter Pill, Why Medical Bills Are Killing Us. It's a Time magazine article, and it was written by Stephen Brill. So, but when you are dealing with insurance, are you ever dealing with individuals who call you up and they're really upset? Like, hey man, why is it 4 years ago I was paying what? Well, in your own words, how much has the cost of insurance risen in the last, say, 5 years? Has it tripled, doubled?
I'm trying to think if it's. I know it's doubled. I don't know the numbers because I don't pay attention to them.
Right.
But I mean, we'll get participants at costs that are just irate. And unfortunately, we have to there's a fine line because we're working for the client.
Sure.
Where the participant is calling us, so we really talk. Try and bring them off the cliff, essentially.
Sure.
That you need to go back to your physician that's billing this, or, if they go to the network, the PPO, I mean, it's hands off for us. The PPOs can do whatever they want.
And what is PPO?
It's your network. Somebody participates with, for us, Midland's Choice, preferred one, or, somebody's in the Blue Cross network, which we don't have access to. But so essentially you go to an in-network doctor, you are able to get 90% you owe 10 versus at a network is 60-40. It's like, well, so you try and steal people to the network, to help limit the patient's cost out of pocket or deductible. But, we don't see that as much just based on, a lot of the things that we try and teach is consumer driven. You have to know what you're going to the doctor for and make sure you're going to the right places. You know, somebody that wants to go to the ER all the time, why don't you go to urgent care?
And don't you feel like they say that food is medicine, right?
Right.
Do you feel like do you see as these companies get bigger and start medicating everybody to get them all in this group as a patient, do you see another side of that where people are starting to realize that holistic or approaching food in a nutritious, I need this for my body to make sure I'm healthy and I'm healing? Do you see it changing as well? I mean, you promote that quite a bit with your chiropractor stuff. So do you see that changing at all, or do you see it still kind of like a battle back and forth?
I think there's a small percentage of the population that's seeing that and want to change or making an effort to change. I think, Jay was talking about those companies and the majority of their costs come from 5% of their client base. I still believe it goes back to the root, which is if you keep telling people that they have a problem or if they have a sickness, that 5% is going to turn into 10 to 15%. It's not the insurance company's fault. I have Wellmark Blue Cross. I pay a lot of money each month. It's not their fault, you know? It's because, first of all, people have... I believe their view now is that their health is basically purchased. That they feel as though maybe they've lost all control of their own health without really even realizing it. I think they become a product of, or a victim, even though they wouldn't describe themselves as that, as marketing. And I think that they have taken their own health and kind of shoved it off to medications.
So if I'm going to be healthy, I'm only going to be healthy because of the pills that I take.
Absolutely. It has a major part. Yeah, absolutely. I think that has a big part of it. The food itself, I see now in a lot of foods that now a lot of manufacturers are advertising the fact that they're actually taking something like high fructose corn syrup out of their products. Special K just did it.
Right.
General Mills has done it. And prior to that, that's probably because a small percentage of the population actually brought it to the public's attention through things like social media.
Did you see that commercial? Did you ever see the commercial where the one lady is making up some Kool-Aid, or I forget what the product was. I shouldn't just bash on Kool-Aid. It was some product, and she goes, "Oh, is there high fructose corn syrup?" Another lady, another mom comes over. "Is there high fructose corn syrup in there?" She goes, "Yeah, why?" "Well, you know what they say about that, don't you?" "What?" And the whole commercial is pro high fructose corn syrup. Like, there's no problem with that. What do they say? Yeah. All they ever say is, "Oh, you don't want high fructose corn syrup." But I think it's interesting that you bring that up because that commercial only ran a few months and then gone. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I can't believe that commercial is out. They're actually trying to defend what? Huge amounts of liquid sugar is bad for you? No. We need it. We need a positive spin on that. And then I think the feeling I got was we just can't fucking do it. We cannot put a positive spin on this. Right. Let's just stop running the commercial.
Let's try. We tried really hard for a while, but I think you're right because my brother-in-law and I were chatting, and we were talking about some of the meals that we've eaten over the holidays, which are usually pretty quick, and everybody's trying to accommodate lots of people at one time. And we found ourselves eating a tremendous amount of food that had condensed soup in it, whether it's cream of mushroom soup, cream of chicken soup, all these things that are part of casseroles so you can feed a large number of people kind of thing. And we're asking the people who were making these going, and I ate it. Just want to put that out there. I ate it. Because it was so goddamn good.
It was disturbing, and I was thoughtful about the food I was putting in my mouth.
My neck bloated because of the sodium in there. But besides that, I was breathing okay.
I have a peanut allergy. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm done. Go ahead.
But it's almost like people don't. There's a certain group of people. It's a demographic who are kind of like. And I think of like the 50s and 60s when the convenience of like, oh, it's in a box now. I can just throw this in the bowl and add an egg and I have a cake. Do you think, is there people that are just not willing to believe that the food that they're eating or the things that they're making are having an effect on them, and so then they believe into the idea of like, oh, this medicine is what's going to take care of me. It's not about what I make. It's like this stuff will take care of me.
Absolutely. I think it's that's exactly what I think. And I think that if people would investigate, like with that article in Time Magazine, which by the way, I have to read that because that looks really interesting.
I'll forward it.
It's so good. It's so long. Jesus, it's so long.
Yeah.
It was great, but it took me forever.
So is the book. So is Selling Sickness. It's a long one, but it's so good.
I'll tell you what though, you finish reading that and you can. I really want you to tell me if you're not this way. But I was so fucking pissed. I was so angry at the end of it. I was just like, goddamn crooks.
Yeah.
People are just and I have no option anymore. If I get sick or I break my arm or something, I'm gonna go somewhere. They're gonna do an MRI on me, dude. I broke my arm. Or my daughter 4 years ago had urinary tract infections. She was just having them when she was not 4 years ago, when she was a child, like toddler. And my wife is a nurse. Hey, symptoms are happening. I know exactly what that is. Hey, it's a urinary tract infection. We got billed like $600 for the doctor to come in, sign his name, and walk back out. And my wife's like, just give me the pills because I know exactly what this is. We don't need a $600 bill for a urinary tract infection.
When my son was born, he was down at the U for a month after he was born in the NICU. And it was interesting because when we started getting they're called explanation of benefits, when they come in and they give you all your charges, and then the description of
why
you're getting charged, it was so overwhelming that, and some of the charges were literally, it'd say MISC period, miscellaneous, hospital charge.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely zero description of what that was, but it was expensive. But I was just as guilty because when you get EOBs that are multiple pages, when you have somebody in the hospital for like a month's time, and that information comes coming in, you don't have the time to call up to the University of Iowa and say, I want you to explain line by line this explanation.
You know what?
And because with people who have, now the difference is, which I felt guilty for, is that if I didn't have insurance, I would have called.
Right.
So in that way, I'm just as guilty, because the insurance company, they're my provider. And so I felt after that it was all done, after I paid it and they had this huge bill that they had to pay, that actually as a consumer, as their customer, I probably should have went the extra step, because those premiums, ultimately I'm going to pay, but so are you, and so are you.
Right. Well,
So I owe it to you. I owe it to anybody else who has a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan that I should have asked those questions, because it was multiple pages of miscellaneous room charge. Miscellaneous. It wasn't like, I want to know what I paid for a paper towel. Right. They didn't have that. It was all miscellaneous charges.
Do you think that's miscellaneous because they knew if you actually put down what that miscellaneous thing was, you'd be like, no, I'm not paying this for this?
You would have to be. Absolutely. You'd have to be. Because there's got to be some knowledge.
Well, and I'm going to take a little turn here. It says I had 3 or 4 days ago, we were here together, working together here on some stuff, and I got a phone call from my wife that said, we just got charged $1,300 to our bank account by this company. And I said, okay, who is that? And she goes,
no, not just charged. They removed $1,300 the week before Christmas,
like three days
from his bank.
3 days before Christmas. And I'm like, who is it? She goes, it's the people that have your student loan. And I was like, okay. I'm just like in shock, of course, right? And so I'm part of Obama's payback loan thing. So I think after 10 years, I pay a certain amount for 10 years. And after 10 years, whatever's left over, they forgive. And so, and I've set this up, and I'm like, sweet, it'll save me a shitload of money. And so I am an adamant marking every piece of mail I get from these people. I'm like making sure I have the right amounts and everything's good. It's automatically withdrawed, all this stuff. And so I called them and they said, oh, well, you okayed an auto withdrawal from your checking account for $1,300 and something amount. And I said, nope. I said, if you'll go back, open your computer, and if you'll look, I okayed a certain amount of money, $90-something a month, That's what I okayed. I never agreed for you to take out $1,300. So it spent, I mean, I was in quite a panic for a little.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Do you feel comfortable talking about or naming the institution because it is such a criminal? It is such a shitty, horrible fucking thing to have happen.
I don't feel comfortable
at any time. All right, fine. You don't have to say it.
But it goes back to Kent saying, you know, I should have probably called because I had insurance. It was one of those things that if you're going to be, you know, you're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. You feel like you have a little less. To lack of better of investing into finding out what's going on. Right. And so I went through 3 different levels of like management to find out what's going on. And so finally I told the last person, I said, I never okayed you to take any money out of my account except for this certain amount. And they could look back and see all the withdrawals that they had taken out for this exact amount every time. And this next one's $1,300 and something cents. And this lady says to me, the best thing I would suggest that you do is to go to your bank branch and tell them to do a stop
on that payment.
Stop payment on that account.
Now, all right. I'm sorry that I'm interrupting, but I definitely want you, I absolutely have to have you say, when you contacted the bank, and this is going to kind of come back.
And I can finish my story, and I'll probably cover
one of the things that I wanted to talk about that I've talked about in the past is we have villainized the insurance companies instead of looking at why are we getting charged $6 for a Tylenol, and we've villainized hospitals, but we haven't looked at our peers when we're getting charged. I mean, I went and had personal therapy done, and I got charged $50 for a bag of ice. I didn't know I got charged $50 for a bag of ice until 6 months later when my insurance company finally forwarded me the itemized bill. I had never received ice, and why would you charge me $50 for frozen water? Ridiculous. So it's not just this 1%er that we should be angry at. It's our peers. It's our neighbors. Why are you charging me $50 for that? You know better than that. Right. Is that really the humane thing to do? Is that a neighborly thing to do? Is that a human thing to do? To take advantage of people like that?
Well, most people, though, won't do that. So what I'm saying, that goes back to the point, is you have to take some responsibility in that regard. You
as
have
a consumer.
as a consumer. Because if I have an $1,800 MRI ordered of my back, I don't think anything of it when my copay is $25.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when you go buy a car. Yeah. You do all the research, but when you go to a healthcare provider, you don't do any research. Yeah. Most people.
Right. Oh, I never do.
You know what I mean?
That sounds so foreign when you say it like that. It even sounds weird. Mm-hmm.
Huh. Or even when a lot of times, I should say, I'm only saying a lot of times because I've always been employed. So during my employment history, the majority of the time, all they're saying is, this is your new insurance plan. Mm-hmm. This is who the company's going with. You don't have an option. But do I? Maybe I do have an option. Right. Maybe I've toyed with the idea of talking to Todd about, it'd be interesting if I got a hold of the Affordable Care Act or went on their website. Hey, what if I went with you guys? Would it be cheaper? I have no clue.
Right. Well, it's interesting because people, like, you switch insurance and everybody's like, that's what they call and complain. Well, I pay for this. Right, but your health plan doesn't cover that. Well, I didn't know that. You don't, there's nothing you can do for them.
Right.
Unfortunately, you're going to get that bill.
You're stuck.
Right.
Well, I did go to my bank.
Right.
And I was talking to the bank teller guy who was a wonderful guy. And I said, so he's like, so the company told you to come in here and do a stop payment on this. I'm like, that's what the lady suggested. He goes, that's really shady.
Yeah.
That they told you to come in here and stop a payment because they have no control about what they're doing. And of course, Matt's like,
I'm freaking out.
He
got this phone call at my house, and I go, what? Wait, what? We're doing something. What are you doing? I got to make a phone call because somebody just pulled $1,300 out of my bank account. What? I'm freaking. I'm like, it's the week before Christmas. What kind of asshole does that?
Right. And he is, of course, saying, somebody went in there and said, let's fuck
Get a hold
up.
of a lawyer. Get a hold of a lawyer.
It was some automatic thing. He missed this one thing, or he didn't do this one piece of paper.
If it was an automatic thing, you would have got $90 taken out of your account again. Somebody went in and made a change. Somebody did.
Or a computer switched it, which is just as bad. Nobody's watching the shop.
It's the whole Y2K thing. You're right.
Y2K.
The world's
You guys are all old enough to remember Y2K. Everybody freaking out. Oh my God.
the computers aren't going to work.
At a certain time, everything's just going to fucking go haywire.
That's the last New Year's Eve I was able to make up past midnight.
I hear you, buddy.
Y2K.
Y2K.
Was it
I
really?
was just so curious about what was going to happen. Ever since then.
I'm going to stay up. Because the Aztecs might be right.
The Aztecs. Oh my God. Yeah. So anyways, it all worked out. They put a stop on the payment, pulled the money back out. And the funniest part is I just got an email yesterday that said from that company saying, just to let you know, that payment didn't go through. What would you like to do? And the bad part is that I talked to them. And she's like, well, would you like to stop everything till we figure this out? And I'm like, absolutely, because I don't know what you're going to do. Right.
But how does that affect
but the hard part is that I wonder how it's going to. Yeah. Oh, fuck. It's going to be a note in there saying somehow he fucked up during this part. And they probably won't tell me until I hit my 10-year anniversary. Oh, you know what? Back in 2014, something got messed up here, and that kicked you out of the system.
And when you re-registered, you were way after the register date of the 10-year program.
That's what my wife is worrying about right now.
Well, thank God you guys are going to win the lottery, and it won't be a big deal. Hey, I do want to get into the triathlon because that is going to bring us into food and diet nutrition, and we've already kind of talked about health.
Speaking of nutrition, I'm going to get another beer. I'll be right back.
Okay. What way do you think it'd be better? Do you want me to talk about health, nutrition, and then we'll kind of go into the triathlon? You know what? Fuck it.
He doesn't care.
You don't give a shit. Let me ask you this. Ironman Arizona, right? Here we go. We're going to bring it up right now. Ironman. You can go to ironman.com and then you can pull up the Arizona Ironman and you can look at the run, swim, bike course. I've asked this of other triathletes that have been in here that we've had podcasts with. Did either of you do anything special? Do you prescribe to any type of pre-workout vitamins, or did you do anything special for this, or how long do you start training before you do an Ironman? Is it a year before you do an Ironman? 6 months?
I think everybody's different. I think Kent and I spent many hours talking as we ride and bike and all that stuff. But I think it depends on where you're currently at, your activity levels at currently. Because when Kent and I'll say I egged him on to do an Ironman because I wanted to, and then he selected the race, and then I bit the hook.
Now, and how did you met each other through CrossFit, correct? Or no?
No, well, yes and no. Kent actually did a presentation at my employer regarding diet nutrition, and then he just happened to be a member at 2.2, and I happened to go in there. I was like, oh, I know that guy,
right?
And then. But I think it depends, because I've had done a couple half Ironmans and had always wanted to do an Ironman. And then, so I knew it was in good shape, so to speak. And then, I was just like, okay, I've got to find a program. But I mean, I take some Advocare products for myself.
Advocare?
Advocare, yeah.
Okay. Now, I think you had said earlier that you're not the healthiest of eaters.
I don't eat. I have a sugar problem.
Okay, so do I.
Sweets.
God bless you. So do I.
Yeah, and
ice cream.
Ice cream's
your downfall.
That's my go-to.
That's your Achilles tendon.
Dilly bar.
Actually, your Achilles tendon is your Achilles tendon, right? Because that blew out.
Yeah,
right.
A year before the race.
A year before the race, because that's where I first met you. I was helping CrossFit 2.2 move into the new gym, and then I had gotten a membership for a little while because I was hoping to get in shape for the Tough Mudder. I was going to do a Tough Mudder.
Right.
And then I was just like, I just can't. I don't have the time to go over there.
Right.
And in all honesty, I don't have the mental strength to continually do something every day, which is one of the things that CrossFit inspires me. That inspires me about CrossFit. And also, I know Kent, when I go see him at your office to get adjusted for a massage, I always tell you about my eating habits. So for years, Kent has heard me say, I'm getting fatter. And I'm going to start doing something. I'm going to start taking care of myself. Now, you had a problem with ice cream, but Kent, when I think of you and your family, I think, here's...
Stalworth.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's not the word. That's not really the word that popped in my head. But thanks for interrupting.
You're a dick. You interrupt me all the time.
But that's my job. When I think of your family, I think of this is the epitome. This is the poster child family for eating healthy and staying active. Yeah. And I absolutely draw strength from the photos I see you in with your kids doing stuff that are active. The fact that you and your wife go to and put on different seminars for people to get healthy through diet, nutrition. It's absolutely inspiring. So did you...
You know what's funny is we couldn't be the most polar opposites of food.
Really?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Why, you're an ice cream guy and he's not?
I'm just eat whatever's in front of me.
Oh, gotcha.
Type of guy.
And you're stay at home, make things from scratch. Mm-hmm. But was that a conscious decision that you've always been in, or was that because of the needs of your family kind of pulling you towards that?
Well, a few years ago, my wife was diagnosed with Crohn's disease.
All right, can you pull the microphone?
And Crohn's disease is it's an inflammatory bowel disease, and so much so that when she would eat something, it would pretty much just go right through her, wouldn't be absorbed. So she'd have these flare-ups, they called it. And so what happened was, so she would lose a lot of weight very quickly. So that's kind of when it all started, because I was down. We went to some physicians here, which all goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is why we're so passionate about it. But we went to some physicians here. Certainly the way to health, as far as what we were concerned, was medications. That was it, symptom control. And so our question kept coming back to everyone that we talked to: how do we fix the problem? You know, like, I get having steroids, I get that, you know, but that's not long term. And there's really no good answer. So we went to the University of Iowa, got the same answers. And then we asked for another referral, and we were pretty much denied that. So we just took it upon ourselves to make it up to Mayo Clinic, and same results. Said, this is what you're going to be on. You're going to be on this drug, Immersion, for the rest of your life, and that was unacceptable. So what happened was, it finally hit me one day, and it's probably there, that I was sitting there waiting for the physicians. And I remember seeing the sign, Center for Digestive Diseases. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there in that clinic. And I'm like, well, no shit, there's the answer. Like, so I started asking myself the question, what are we digesting that's making her so ill? You know? I wasn't sitting in a neurology clinic. I wasn't sitting in an OBGYN clinic. I was sitting in a digestive disease clinic. And so then... that book that you pulled up, as a matter of fact,
The Maker's Diet by Jordan Rubin.
Yeah, and actually the one we have read that book. The one prior to that, the one that kicked it all off, was Patient Heal Thyself. And so we read Patient Heal Thyself, and they were giving that away free down at the Coralville Co-op, and we picked it up. And Jordan Rubin had the same disease as my wife, and so that's what we read. That was the first book. And so then...
That is an amazing book, because it shows him, and you can see on the cover here...
That's the opposite of what you see on stuff now. You usually see it like an obese person who's changed physically, and that's the opposite of it. Well, he looks healthy.
This guy was in great health going out. I got the book. It was years ago. I went to the store that just opened up, New Pioneer Co-op in Coralville. I went there, and they had this book there. the Maker's Diet. I'm sorry, not the Patient Heal Thyself, but Maker's Diet. And I was reading it, and I was just so fascinated by the fact that anybody coming out of their teens, out of high school, is in great physical condition. And in a matter of a few years, he looks like a Holocaust survivor. And not understanding how is it that all of a sudden my body stopped absorbing food? Why is it that all of a sudden this happened to me?
So what happened to you? So is it similar to what happened with your wife then?
Yeah, her very last, she had several flare-ups. Many of them, the last one was pretty bad, which got us on this whole, really, we knew we had to do something. She was in bed for 6 weeks straight, except maybe to roll out and go to the bathroom, And then we of course took her down to the hospital. They would give her some IV fluids, send us home. And then the last time we took her down there, I had to wheel her in a wheelchair. She didn't have any strength. Her weight was below 100. She was at like 95 pounds. Wow. And you guys know my wife.
Yeah, she's a very tiny lady.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And very energetic. And that was the wake-up call. So then that's why we started really watching what we're eating. We started educating ourselves, just like we talked about, on food labels. Like what's really in the food. You referred to like the packaged food over the holidays. What's really in that. And so I didn't get into, I had a couple of Jay's gels. He would have these chew gels on the bike while we're training on the bike. And, and he brought up a good point. He said he doesn't really use it for nutritional value. He uses it more just to keep yourself doing something. You're on a bike for 6 hours. So I tried a couple of those. And then I read the label, when I got home. And it was bad stuff, So it was my goal. And nothing against that product. Jay. Nothing against the product. and nothing against nothing against what Jay does. That's how a lot of triathletes get through the races. I just went a different route. So I went all whole foods.
But it was funny.
And got away from that.
The day before the race, we were checking our bikes, and I was like, Kent, look at all that stuff on that guy's bike. It was like 6 Perform packets, like the goo packets.
Sure.
I think it was taped. It was like 12 of them taped to his top tube.
And the best thing Kent and I were doing, I was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and we're like, this is just not going to be enough. The example was after the race, my watch, 9,000 calories I burned during that race.
Whoa.
Didn't put in that many, of course. But Kent one day says, I'm going to eat cinnamon sugar bagels. And he says 500 calories, 400 plus if you put butter on it was like 500.
Yeah. Yep.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Eating that on the bike.
Really?
Well, the thing was,
instead of squirting that shit in your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, he said, Ken, look at all those, look at all that stuff taped to those tubes, and it's all the gels. And I said, what's funny about that, Jay, is that's the equivalent of like 4 bagels. So just eat the healthiest bagels you can get.
Sure.
Yeah.
And put on some like good almond butter, and it's the exact same amount of calories. And it'll fill you up.
Yeah.
So that's
that was
what
unbelievable.
We didn't do.
And it's probably much better for your body to process.
So when you guys did that, Ironman Arizona, you were eating bagels on your bikes.
Yeah, and it's funny. Yeah. There was a guy that Kent's a better runner than I, so I was way in the back running, and I was talking to a guy as I was walking. And he's like, he did Chattanooga. He was a coach, and he said he had pizza during Chattanooga race, and he had pizza on the bike during Arizona. I think it's just whatever because you're not getting a lot of calories in. You're trying to keep the fluids in, but not getting a crap ton of calories. And the bagel was unbelievable. Sweet tooth, obviously, but it was amazing. Mm-hmm. And then I had it on the run too, and didn't feel like, oh my God, what did I just eat? I'm going to have to stop and sit in the porta-john for an hour.
Honestly, that's basically how I feel every time I eat. Oh my God, what I eat. Every time I eat, if I don't feel, it's almost like I've been eating this way my whole life, and I've finally gotten to an age to where my body has finally said, dude, that's fucking enough.
Yeah.
I've worked my ass off so long to keep you slim and trim. I'm done now. Which is why Todd and I are going to be doing this raw for 30, and not just not just like a fad to do. I honestly want to change how I eat, long-term lifestyle change. I want to make a lifestyle change, not just a 30-day change to lose weight. And,
well, it's interesting because, when you say, and this goes for anybody, whether you're training for Ironman, whether you're just like my wife, she wasn't training for anything. It was just living. But the body always enters a state of dis-ease before it enters a stage of disease. So the dis-ease is that stuff you're talking about. So, gastrointestinal distress, feeling bloated, maybe diarrhea, headaches. Mm-hmm. And so colon cancer, Crohn's disease, all those other digestive issues, it just doesn't happen, So it takes time. But then one day that happens. So in one of my, and you can, I know Jaye wants to say something, but I have a patient who's an oncologist. And she's young, and I like to talk to her about this kind of stuff. And she's like 34 years old. And I said, wow, what cancer is really the cancer? Like the one that right now is, is it? And I said, is it colon? And she says, we pretty much have our hands around colon. We also have our hands around breast cancer. She says, it's esophageal. And I said, whoa, why is that? She said, well, first of all, esophageal, if you get esophageal, that's bad. That's a bad one. That's probably one you don't want to get. I said, why is that? She said, it's our lifestyle. So it's our diet. It's all the stuff we're putting in that has to go down the esophagus, which is another, so you eat that stuff, you drink that stuff, gels day after day, artificial sweeteners day after day.
But that stuff is just passing through. It's not like sitting in your stomach or sitting in your colon, right? It's just passing through that area. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
It makes me scared.
You're saying
it scares me quite a bit.
You're saying it's crazy because you feel like in your head you can't wrap your mind around it, but you're thinking it's just passing through that area, and how can it affect it so badly by just passing through that area? But the fact is, it's passing through the area, but it's being absorbed, and the chemicals and everything else is being absorbed, and those chemicals stay with you unless you do like a detoxing. I mean, people talk about detoxifying for a week or so, or for so many days.
I heard of this whole detox thing is really unrealistic, that it has to be a lifestyle change in the way you eat, that you can detox yourself from something, but immediately if you don't stick with eating organic, non-GMO stuff, you're just going to get toxified again.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things I've been really looking into, the Gerson Institute. You'll see that here on the screen. And they talk about a lot of the raw vegetarian type of a diet, fruits and veggies.
Are you vegetarian?
No. Okay. I'm not. And people ask me, they'll say, do you do Mediterranean? Do you do paleo, vegetarian?
So what do you, so
I tell them I do all of it. So I eat a lot of meat, a lot of fish.
But everything you eat, for the most part, is just home cooked.
Home cooked, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the idea that I have of you and your family is circa 1940s. Mm-hmm. It's all homemade, from scratch, done.
Mm-hmm. So you make a birthday cake for somebody, but you went and bought flour, you went and bought stuff to make it out of.
Yeah, I mean, look at my, look at your parents, look at your grandparents. Look at my grandparents were farmers. And some of you guys might have the same background with your grandparents. They died of an old age. They didn't necessarily die of cancers or heart disease.
And if you wanted to see the fat lady, you went to the freak show.
Yeah.
Right. And the majority of Americans anymore could be that freak show.
Yeah. Now, or somebody was heavy, and they were just, that was almost like the voluptuous woman pictures of like Picasso and things like that. That was like normal. But I mean, I agree with you, because I have friends who had grandparents who lived on a farm. And then, actually, my ex-wife, her family, my ex-mother-in-law said that she still to this day can't eat a lot of pork and eggs and things like that, because they only ate they were so poor. They could only eat what was produced off the farm. Mm-hmm. But their parents who owned the farm ate bacon and eggs and pork and butter every single day until they died in their 90s, almost 100 years old. But it has to be because it's not unprocessed. It's not altered. I mean, isn't that kind of the core idea behind it all?
Absolutely. Yep.
Because I mean, they're saying that. Is the China diet? What was that one?
It was the China study.
There you go. That's all about being a vegetarian, though, right? That cancer is caused by meat. Isn't that kind of the gist of it, or am I wrong?
I mean, to really dumb it down,
Please.
not to say that you're dumb.
I need to work it in.
But if the shoe fits, that's all I'm going to say. No, the China study, if you were to look at it, I think in general, that's what it kind of says, that we need to get back to a more whole food, raw, organic type of lifestyle. And one of the things that has been really interesting is, like I said, Todd had brought up this suggestion of the raw for 30. He had asked me if I'd
Am I the only
seen
one
that.
who missed the 4 menstrual cycles and the Gerson? There was a little baggie that came with a pump and something else.
All right,
Am I missing something, or is that extremely inappropriate?
What are you talking about?
Just kidding. I'm
gonna flip through these things and we're gonna see if we can find this menstrual thing.
Couple more.
All right, hold
That was
on,
like a
hold
peanut
on.
butter covered pad of some sort.
It's not that one. Perhaps I know some things you don't about Tampax. I don't know. Not that one. Thanks for giving. I swear, if I go
Right there. 4 better menstrual products to replace your toxic tampons.
What's so bad about that?
It's a pump with a pretty bag. I just think it's funny.
Okay, that's
It's a funnel. That's not a pump. It's a funnel.
Listen, you are a Neanderthal male.
When my wife says, "Hey, honey, can you grab that paisley bag off the counter
That
and
5-inch
hand me
funnel.
the funnel?"
All right.
No thanks.
You know what? You're
You're on
making
your
fun
own.
of this because you had said let's do the raw for 30. We're gonna. You know what? Just sit there and be pretty for a second. You had brought up this raw for 30 idea.
Yeah.
Right? And then I said, hey, let's do that, but I'm really interested in this whole Gerson therapy because I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube and kind of researching it with this whole cure for cancer thing.
Yes.
And if you haven't looked at it, I know I brought it up before in the podcast, but if you haven't heard of it.
Listen, the only reason why I have it.
Zip it. If you haven't checked out the Gerson therapy, go to Gerson, GERSON.org. Check it out and type it into YouTube. You'll see some just absolutely fantastic YouTube videos about Gerson. Max Gerson. He's the individual who created it. And there's a little, if you go to Wikipedia and you pull up Max Gerson and you want to understand the Gerson therapy, that's what it is. The only difference is between a raw for 30 or raw diet and the Gerson therapy, I think, is the coffee colonics. Now, I bring this up because when I brought up, I said, you want to do the raw for 30?
Yes.
And you said yes. And I said, hey, would you mind if we do that, but we do it with the whole Gerson therapy thing in mind? Because
I had to put something in my butt, and I'm just not comfortable with that idea right off the bat. All you gotta, you said all you gotta do is brew a pot of coffee and let it get to room temperature. Then I'm like, okay, so then do I ask my wife to stick the tube in my ass? Do I try to do it on my own? I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
It sounds very foreign to what I normally do on a daily basis.
That's not what I do on a Saturday night. That's not normally what I do.
You have to preface it so people don't think that I'm some freak.
There's a lot of
It's more
times where I
like-
word things wrong and I'm taking wrong. I think I'm okay with myself. I can handle this. I am going to do a coffee cleanse.
I'm not saying that I'm against it. I'm just saying that it's foreign to me.
Jay and Kent.
Warm fluid. Have you done
He's not down
have you done
with
it before?
No, I have not.
He's
Good
never
for you.
tried it.
No.
Good for you too.
What do you mean? What do you mean good for you?
By the way.
Hey,
I know.
listen.
Sweet, huh?
Nice.
Listen, hold on a second. The only reason I even want to try this is because
I want to
the Gerson therapy, that's part of Gerson's therapy, and part of the reason why I want to try it is because the results that he's had with patients has been phenomenal.
Dude, I am not doubting you at all.
He's now
I'm
dead, by
saying
the way.
you said. I'm saying
He was born in
But he died at old-
1936.
he died at old
Come on.
age, yeah.
His daughter's like 85 years old now.
I'm only saying that because it catches me off guard. I had to prepare myself for the concept of doing raw for 30.
Yeah.
And the prep that's involved.
I would have to buy a whole colostomy kit.
So you start throwing things like that into the mix. I'm like, I just got my head wrapped around having enough carrots and celery and cucumbers and salad and kale on a daily basis.
I'm
now I need to
giving
start
you
thinking about
your
coffee and my asshole involved.
I'm giving you your coffee junkie fix. I'm giving you it. You're just not
Ken
drinking
thinks this is
it.
awesome. He thinks it's fantastic.
Ken just wants to see the end results. I think Ken is.
Yeah.
curious.
So I'm going to
wanna
just
see it
interrupt
for
this
30
whole
days.
thing and say that unfortunately the asshole Cowboys beat.
Why would you say that?
Redskins.
Why would you
Oh,
just
okay.
And I'm watching
interject?
the Niners and the Cardinals right now. Because my brother is here right now with my stepfather watching the game.
Listen, that is rude. You're watching football as we're having a podcast
No, I'm
with
not.
two amazing
No,
individuals.
I'm just keeping track of the score.
the two polar opposites, two guys who finished the Ironman, one terrible diet, the other one perfect diet. And
Okay.
I love you, by the way. Love you.
She's your kid, not mine.
Hey, you can shut the... Never mind. Anyway,
Both your kids are Ed Sawyers.
I think that all this stuff is... Yeah.
But
thank
the
you.
thing is it the Raw for 30? No clue what it is, but is it a lifestyle change or is it a 30-day change?
See, this is my hope.
The Raw for 30, I think, is a 30-day change, but I would like to actually make it a lifestyle change, more of a vegetarian change.
Not,
it's like
not so much for me. My idea was to get this kind of like a jump start,
Right.
for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've read people saying that they did the Raw for 30 and then they had a hard time even digesting cooked food again. So they really had to slowly wean themselves off of the raw and start eating more cooked things.
Right.
I am psychologically fucked because I can't think. I can't.
I would agree.
I
completely.
would because
No disagreement here.
I want to change the idea of that. I mean, even people are like, well, I follow like Dwayne, what's his name for The Rock? From
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson.
And so you can see his Instagram and see his cheat days. He has like these stacks of pancakes and fucking pizzas and shit. I don't want to have to get to
But
the
he
point.
also works out like a madman.
But he also eats super clean 6 days out of the week and goes crazy on one. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like, I have to have a 5-pound bag of peanut M&Ms on a certain day. I would like to have it just be totally normal that on a regular basis, I cook this and I prepare this, and then that's what I do day in and day out. That it's not like during the month of December that I pack on 10 pounds because I'm eating all this shit. I'd rather just, and so it's not like Raw for 30. I don't want to be a vegetarian the rest of my life. I don't.
You were
But-
at one point.
For 10 years I was, but it didn't change my weight. It didn't change the way I felt necessarily.
Right.
You know?
At one point, there was a comment made that you were the fattest vegetarian they'd ever met.
That was my dad, but I probably wasn't very far behind.
Oh, that's funny.
No,
You know,
I
the
probably
funny
wasn't
thing
very
is,
far behind.
is
that,
Kent and I would do our bike rides in Des Moines, and we get done and we go to Hy-Vee. And Kent's the perfect thing is to tell me what to eat because I have no clue. And here we are getting chicken breasts and mashed potatoes and mac and cheese or a foot-long sandwich. And he's like, this is what your body needs. Oh, sweet, because this is good.
But don't you think that's what the majority of people don't understand? Like me personally, I have no true clue how much I should eat and how often I should eat. Now, if you dumb it down, people go, all right, hey, Matt, eat 3 times a day and the protein shouldn't be bigger than your fist.
Your
Yeah, that's-
palm.
Your palm? See, I'm already wrong.
Your fist. It's a big piece of meat, dude.
But I think a lot of people are just like, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat.
Right.
But the fact that they're eating, it's just like the Sweet Raw Joy that we talked about earlier. Sweet Raw Joy is these desserts to live for. In fact, I can bring up their website. But the point of it is we usually have those treats in here. They're all raw. They're not baked, but they're desserts. And there's little medallions. You've had them. I took them into your clinic before as a little treat. You can divide those little pucks up into 4, and you have 1 or 2 pieces or half of the little puck, and you're full. You're satiated. And I think that's one of the misconceptions, that we're constantly shoving food into our mouths and into our bodies that it's not doing anything for our bodies. So our body's saying, hey, reach for another thing because that didn't do it for me.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, I also think that
I wish I had Kent following me around all the time going, hey, by the way, we just finished working out. Why don't you eat this?
Yeah. Oh.
That'd be pretty good for you. Oh, hey, Matt, you're feeling a little tired. I know you're at work. Why don't you try this? Put down the chips. Why don't you know what? Instead of having that coffee, you know what you could have? An apple. An apple gives you more energy than a cup of coffee would. Why don't you try an apple? There you go. Good job, you.
he's having these epiphanies.
Can I get a Kent app on my phone? I
Because
need a Kent app
There
on
we
my
go.
phone.
That's what we need.
This is a guy who just hit 40 and has been drinking Pepsi and eating Snickers bars and eating chips and eating super burgers
all the time. A lot of it all the time. And
just now he's starting to see physically a change in his body.
And I
Whereas
told Kent that
me,
last time I saw
20 years ago, I could see a change very quickly that I was not eating correctly because my organs, my fat was on the outside, not on the inside, for sure. You know?
Wait a second. Are you telling me that you biologically are different than I am?
Absolutely.
You're not the normal human being.
My wife has always been concerned about you because she said,
there's a lot of reasons for this. Well, we're going to touch on one. We're only going to touch on one right now. Yeah. Just one.
First of all, he's a friend of yours. Second of all, no. She is always concerned that Matt always looks great. And I said that I said I am concerned about that because they say that some people have the genetics that they have a lot of fat on their organs on the inside and not necessarily on the outside. Because even when you and I were eating terrible together, you always looked pretty good.
I've always eaten terrible. But
by a lot, but like
just
biologically, he's always looked pretty damn good. I was always like going, "What the fuck?" And he always said to me, "Going, dude, that you do CrossFit 4 times a week and you work out like you do." Because I was telling him how I killed some row the other day.
Right.
I actually kept up with the 2 coaches that we were with.
Oh, sure.
And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I was so excited about it. And he's like, "That you can do that and still be heavy and all this." I'm like, "Dude, I eat like shit. I can do that for 20 minutes and it doesn't matter because I'm going to go home. I'm going to do something terrible." You know, they say the nutrition and the way you eat is 80% of what it is. 20% is the physical activity you do. You know what I mean? I don't like the fact that I'm being manipulated because, I mean, they say that they now.
Here we go. Here we go.
Don't be me.
Captain Conspiracy Theory.
I'm not being conspiracy. No, I'm not being. It's not. I don't think it's a conspiracy.
Shut the TVs off, kids. Put your tinfoil hats on. We're being manipulated. Go ahead, Todd.
They know it's a proven fact that they have found out.
Some people with smaller brains are easily manipulated.
No, it's more of the idea that they know exactly how much fat, sugar, and salt that you need in food to make sure that your brain is, before you finish one bite, you're already thinking about the next bite because they know the exact percentage of what it takes that your body, your brain.
If you're eating the fast food, junk food, right?
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
But I hate to put you on a pedestal here, Kent. I'm sure there's a lot of things that are wrong with you. And maybe we can dive into those. Your wife,
he knows probably more than what he should.
Your wife right now, when this gets posted and your wife is watching, she's like, "Oh yeah, I got a list."
You didn't even touch her list.
Jaye,
but when it comes to diet, if I can't imagine, there's 2 things that would be absolutely world changing. One, if everybody did what they loved to do. Not what they had to do, not what they had to do to pay the bills, but if they did what they loved doing. Wake up in the morning, got a big smile on your face, you get to do it. I think that would change the world. Oh. The other thing would be if everybody could just eat like you're eating. You just said, I don't follow the paleo diet. I don't follow all these other crazy little diets. I'm not vegetarian. I eat what I want, but I make it all from scratch. If everyone had that mentality, I have anxiety just thinking about cooking my children a lunch, just making lunch for my kids. I start to get crazy. I start to get anxious because I've never been taught that. My mom never cooked like that. We always had like hamburger helper or hamburgers or steak, really? Period. Spaghetti, maybe. Lasagna, never. I mean, we just didn't do complex recipes. I was never shown that. So to do that stuff now, or even to think of doing that stuff now, I start to get anxious. Like, I'm just doing spaghetti. I did spaghetti one night, and I started freaking out on my kids. I'm like, I gotta get the garlic toast out at the right time with the spaghetti. And, it was just, and that's like the easiest thing in the world. I've heard people laugh at me when I talk about that stuff. It's the simplest dish maybe ever to make besides cereal and milk.
But my wife, listen to this though. So you will make spaghetti, but you'll break out the box of Texas toast that you've bought at Walmart, correct?
That's correct.
But okay, so one piece of that has enough shit and horrible stuff on it.
I agree. But here's let me get back to what I was saying. The 2 things that I think would change the world. One, people being able to do what they want to do and have a passion for it instead of what they have to do to pay the bills. The second thing would be everyone being completely comfortable and knowledgeable about what they're making. They make their own food. They know where it came from and how to prepare it. And they do that on every meal. And you don't have to be an extremist. You don't have to be a complete vegetarian, and you don't have to be what was the guy that said eat nothing but protein?
Atkins.
You don't have to be Atkins. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to do the paleo diet. Just
if you're a cool CrossFitter, you do paleo. Just
whatever. I think that's the term that they want to make sound cool. But if you just were aware of the ingredients and that you made it from home and you made it with love and you made it with your family,
right,
your whole world changes.
But you have to be conscientious of what you're buying. I think we talked about this earlier because we're already members of the new Pioneer Co-op here in Cedar Rapids. Mm-hmm. And to walk into the bakery and they have all that bread packaged up already, and to go over and read 4 or 5 ingredients on a piece of on a packaged sandwich bread is so unbelievable, because I've been buying a certain kind of bread that's like $5 a loaf that's frozen that I know is only going to last so long because it's got a lot of good nutrients in it, which I'm fine with buying that. But to go in a new Pioneer Co-op and saying like, oh my God, this white sandwich bread has 5 ingredients in it. Well, shit, I'll feed this to my kids. That's at least I know part of it is great. I mean, white processed, flour is not the best thing in the world, but at least I know a majority of it is good for me or my kids. I mean, to take out all the thinking involved. Maybe that's what. Are we lazy? Take out all the thinking of it. I mean, that's the idea of. I was like, my wife was like, look at this bread. And so I was like, oh my God, I would save so much money per loaf if I bought this bread, and the bread was good for me or good for my kids. It made a huge difference for me. And it's one more thing I have to think about. And I think it's the busyness that you're kind of alluding to, is like, you have to get done with your day at work. Mm-hmm. And then you have to come home and you have to think about, oh my God, what am I feeding my kids? And then you start talking about the anxiety involved in what am I feeding my children? Mm-hmm. That's where I think it keeps taking one more level of anxiety to another, and then you feel like you're just kind of screwed from the beginning anyways. Right. So you give up and go, hey guys, let's go to McDonald's instead.
The fast
pace.
For
sure. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, there's been times where I've actually got out pans and stuff, and I've located things in the refrigerator in the pantry. Is that how you cook? Then I thought, okay, this is going to take me 45 minutes, but this Hardee's, let's go. Who wants Hardee's? Show of hands. Everybody's happy. Let's go. Show of hands. Who's going to eat the pizza casserole I'm going to make? Okay, only you. All right, Hardee's, let's go. We're out of here. Yeah, everybody's happy. But that's, I think a lot of people in America are kind of, they have the mentality, maybe if not the physical or the genes like I have, where you eat a certain way, you don't see the negative ramifications of it for so long, then it becomes a habit, and then you get to a certain age where your body says, fuck it. I can't do it anymore. Here comes the spare tire. Here comes, your 220 pounds female. And then to make that change at that point, 220 pounds
female, what did you just say?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, you're talking about yourself?
Are you trying to verify what I said? Because that's what I said.
You're talking about yourself. And then
no,
you said
I actually hit 230. Once I hit 230, I thought, oh my God, I'm 230 pounds. I just had a health and wellness thing for insurance, for my company's insurance. And I said, okay, I'm never going to hit that mark. To get X amount of money, they take certain readings from me. Mm-hmm. And if I hit all these readings, I get extra money for my health care. Whatever. One of them I'm never going to meet. I'm never going to meet the BMI.
Right.
Ever. So just for shits and giggles, I asked the lady, who was very attractive. By the way, that's just a little add-on. I'm just throwing that in there.
Note.
I have a thing for Asians. Anyway. It's okay. My wife doesn't listen to this. I'll never get into a fight about this podcast ever.
Oh God.
I said, just for shits and giggles, what would my weight have to be? Because I can't change my height ever. What would my weight have to be to meet that BMI? She's like, 175, 180. I'm like, are you shitting me? There's 30 people like on the other side of this tiny little barrier. It's not even a wall. I don't even know what they were thinking of. They probably went like, what? What's going on back there? Are they getting naked? All right. I just had a little daydream in my head. Never mind. But to get my frame from 230 to 175, 180, that is a dramatic change. But for shits and giggles, Kent, how much do you weigh?
I'm 167.
And how tall are you?
5'11".
Okay, so pack on a couple more inches. I'm 6'1".
So what percent of the body fat are you, do you think? Give or take?
I just did that a while back. I think it was like 8 or 9%, something like that.
Okay.
And but you don't even think about that. You eat the way you eat and the way you conduct your life. You don't worry about the percentage of your body fat.
I don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But that's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
Is he's
I was helping you get there. Jesus
No,
Christ.
thank you. Eventually we'll come around. But that's what I'm getting at is that I stress out about food. A lot of people stress about their diets, and we're coming up on January 1st. And well, actually, this podcast will come out after January 1st. So this is all for the people that made their New Year's resolutions. A lot of people are freaking out and they stress about diet and weight and all this stuff. If you get into a system where you're just mindful of what you're eating, it's not stressful.
But you make it a lifestyle.
But it's a lifestyle. It's just like you're waking up in the morning and you're taking the dog for a walk. It's just one of those natural things that's not a big hindrance.
What do you? But you spent that much time with Kent,
right?
And you did all the
Has
training.
any of it rubbed off?
I was gonna say, do you feel like you've changed it all? I mean, during the holidays, did you just go fucking crazy?
Well,
what do you think?
The sweets. I mean, it's crazy. I almost bought a plate of cookies and I forgot them.
Oh,
then I was
that would have been really sweet. That would have been
Kent would
really
have
sweet.
loved them because I know what his trigger is.
Yeah.
Was it
Wait,
cookies?
what's your trigger?
Chocolate chip cookies are
Yeah.
primary.
Are they really?
Yeah. See, he knows too much about.
Do you make them or does your wife make them?
My wife.
Because I have a chocolate chip cookie recipe that is to die for.
What are they? Energy bites.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, what you're
With
saying is you're
chocolate
making
chips.
really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
his wife made these energy balls, and he said, "Hey,
So not
do
you.
want- you
Okay. I just want to make
I
sure.
still live in the
So-
60s.
So we went biking and we're in Des Moines and
Yeah,
it
so
was a
let's
long
set this
day.
up. We would drive to Des Moines for our 4, 5, and 6 hour bike rides. So we
Because
spend
they have the
2 hours.
best bicycling trails in
So we
the
would
state.
drive 2
Oh,
hours.
no kidding.
Oh, fuck
Really?
yeah.
To ride 4 or 5 hours and then drive 2 hours back. So we had a lot of time.
All right.
So he's on the way over there. Jay is very methodical. Like everything is down. Everything's timed out perfect. You know, he has a routine. So do I. But he's almost takes the routine thing to the next level. But so you'd ask me like how much further we have to Des Moines. I'd say we have about an hour left. And all of a sudden he'd get up and he'd kind of start shuffling around his back and he'd pull out a drink of some sort, and then he'd pull out like 3 pill, you know, like
My O2 Gold.
his supplements.
Yeah.
You know, so everything was
Timed
like
out.
clockwork.
Then it'd be like, how much time we got left? I
much time
gotta
we
get
got
this
left?
other thing down.
I gotta get the other.
You're planning for an Ironman. Fuck yes.
So then we get to the bike, whatever you call it, the trailhead.
True. Yeah.
And so we got out and he said, "Hey, my wife made these energy balls." And I'm like, "Oh." And I said, "What's in them?" And he said, "Well, it's like peanut butter, chocolate, oatmeal.
Some type of flour.
Some type of
almond flour.
Unbaked?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Almond flour.
And honey.
A no bake.
And
A
honey.
no bake, if
All
you
right.
will.
Yeah.
So he says, "You want to try one?" I said, "Yeah, of course. I'm always up for that." So I tried it. They're unbelievable. They were so good. And so I was really excited about these things. And so I went home and told my wife about it. And my wife is the cook in our family predominantly. I mean, she is amazing. So I told her what was in these and how much I liked them. So she said, "Oh, I can make those." So she'd make some. And she said, so she gets done. She spent all this time making them. And she said, "Here, try this." And I tried it. And I'm like, that tasted nothing like. She said, "Well, I tried to make them healthier."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, how'd you do that?" So she put a bunch of hemp protein in there, and so basically, like shooting. I mean, it was seriously. It took away.
Just dried it out.
Just dried it out.
Oh,
And it tastes
okay.
like I was
Too
chewing
much.
on a bunch of leaves. And so I said, "Ooh, okay." So that was it for the energy balls. Yeah.
So do your wives get together then and share recipes so she can make them for you?
It's so
She
funny
sent the
to
recipe.
hear that.
She sent the recipe too.
Oh my God.
So anything that's good.
Can you send that to me?
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to try that.
So anything that's
They are
good.
100 calories. Unbelievable.
One ball.
One ball.
So what was your
I
wife
love the fact
thinking?
that
Like she was
Kent
trying to
saying
get down
balls
to
and
1
balls.
calorie?
100
Or?
calories.
No, it wasn't a matter of calories. We don't care about calories.
Okay.
I don't count calories. I don't care. I told Jay that. Don't worry about calories.
Okay.
Just eat right. So she knew that during a long workout, you have to have protein besides maybe just a little bit of peanut butter in there. So
Yeah.
she had almond butter, and so she dumped in all this hemp protein, and it was very dry. Did you try one of those?
No.
No.
I think I warned him away from him.
He knew better.
But yeah, it kind of. So anyway, so we scratched the energy balls. But a thought that I had while you're sitting there talking is, Jay. I mean, when you think about it, so he blew out his Achilles.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, we haven't.
A year prior to the race, he texts me. We were supposed to leave. We went down to volunteer at Ironman Arizona.
Yeah, we left the Friday after I had surgery, and I was the most miserable son of a bitch ever.
I bet.
And he was with me.
But the point was
Good friends.
is he blows out his Achilles. We get done with volunteering for Ironman Arizona in 2013. So I started just kind of ramping up my time spent training.
Right. And I couldn't do anything.
And he couldn't, So, and I'm eating healthy the whole time. Jay, isn't. And and so he sends me the training schedule.
So we started training
6 months prior to the race.
3rd.
Yeah.
24 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So 6 months training schedule.
And I had just gotten off PT a month.
So that's when you guys are like, let's get serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the end, so to fast forward to the Ironman race, here's what I thought afterwards. For somebody to blow their Achilles out, the diet, he made attempts to change, and he did good, really. Yeah. I mean, he still had to, but he tried. And so then in the race, I think I finished less than an hour before him.
Yeah.
And so the point is that it doesn't matter. I don't eat right for performance. You know what I mean? I'm not taking performance enhancing supplements or anything like that. It's not for that. Because obviously it didn't really do a ton. I wasn't going to win the race. I wasn't going to try to finish it in 8 hours or 9.5, try to go to Kona. But the point is don't do it. Like you say, this goes after New Year's. It's not, if you're doing it for like performance enhancing, you're kind of missing the boat. You know, right. If you're doing it for lifestyle change and truly health, and maybe to break that cycle, like for your kids and that, like my kids, then it's right. Then it's the right thing to do. So there's so many, like in what the sport that we do, that are taking this stuff because it's performance enhancing. I don't know if it really does.
Well, and we talked about
to function better.
Like today, he said, "Let's just start the Raw for 30 now, dude. Why are we waiting?"
Right.
And I was like, because I have another week of drinking with my in-laws. Yeah. I'm going to be over at their house. And unless I start, like I go shopping when I leave here after this podcast, and I go and buy vegetables and get everything prepped, because I really have not, I mean, I literally in my head have another week of kind of like planning so that I can start this Raw for 30, because I go back to work on the 5th, and I can kind of get myself kind of lined in. But it makes total sense, because it really shouldn't be about this day, a start date or a finish day. It should be a change.
Is everybody's like Monday? Okay, we'll do it good for 2 weeks, and then it's okay the next Monday.
Well, like with Jay, when I think about him and his injuries and what he had going on, and during all the training that we were doing, if you're eating stuff that inflames your body, like all the fucking gel stuff, and on all those sports drinks, they're just loaded with that stuff, coloring. Sugars.
And he's got mixed. So I'm drinking rehydrating stuff and Perform, and Kent's got juices.
I always would ground up a whole cantaloupe and then 2 bananas, and then
ground up like a blend in a blender.
I'd Vitamix it.
Okay.
And so
Vitamix.
You said grind, and I thought, did you dry it and then you ground it? So you snorted it? I mean, what's happening?
Mine would be like Vitamix. And
a smoothie.
I put
it's almost as good as a blend tech.
And then it's almost as good. And then so I take my four bottles that I have in my cages on my bike and fill them equally up, and then fill the rest up with water. So that's what I had. But the point was, what I want people to know, and Jay, because now we're training for another one coming up.
That's what will be interesting.
Crazy.
Because you should be doing it.
Is to see.
Fuck that, dude.
You say you want to do Louisville.
I'm listening.
I'm not going to assume shit, but I'll do another. I'll try. I mean, you know what? The idea, but I mean, I'm not going to, I'm trying to interrupting you, but I'm saying that if I can we talked about me doing CrossFit, like competitions I've done before.
Right.
It's so difficult because I mean, doing a pull up is hard because you have,
it's max effort
I'm
every
250 pounds to pull over a bar. Mm-hmm. If I took a 40-pound vest off my body, Jesus Christ, I could butterfly pull-ups all the time, you know? Yeah. And so, I mean, it goes to what you're saying, that if you get to the point where you are eating and living your life a certain way, doing an Ironman, doing a CrossFit competition, it's no longer like this thing I have to prepare for and it's going to be hard. It's the way I do everything every day. So it's just one more thing. So I do it.
Right. It becomes a matter of like with him, because whether you're doing CrossFit or whether you're sitting at your desk all day eating crap, that inflames your body. So the way that, like with Jaye, when he tore himself up, and then we're out there tearing ourselves up every time we train, is you have to feed your body stuff that is going to help repair and heal it and create the least amount of inflammation within the system. And so
that's what I loved about our stops at Hy-Vee from Des Moines.
Yeah. Because why?
He would tell me what to eat.
Yeah.
Says your cells need this.
Now, was it something that you honestly had no clue about, or it was something that you had heard of, but you just didn't take seriously?
No, I probably didn't know enough about, because Kent would be like, okay, we need to fuel our cells with it. We've been riding for 5 hours. Your body is just going to love this. And I'm like, that's what I need to hear. What do I need to, because I'd probably go grab a piece of pizza.
Was fried chicken part of that?
No.
Grilled chicken.
Grilled chicken.
Yeah. Okay. Grilled chicken was.
Damn it.
Yeah.
See, that's why we need the Kent app.
Just as a matter of.
I think Kent needs his own podcast. Nutritional podcast would be sick, dude.
No, I don't.
But you have enough time in the day, right?
Jay and I will be spending enough time together coming up.
All right, so what's the next triathlon that you guys are working on?
October 10th or 11th.
October 11th.
11th. But that's what would be interesting is I told Kent there would be some rides we'd go on. I was like, if we didn't ride this together, I don't know if I would have done the whole thing. Done the whole training ride. It'd be go ride on your bike for 6 hours.
You'd still do the triathlon, but
yeah. But I mean, it's hard training by yourself.
Yeah. Sure.
Because we can't run together. Kent's too fast for me.
He was part of the
jackalope.
He was part of the 6 a.m. group at CrossFit 2.2 at the old place.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to my son at the time, who is coming home. Junior's coming home pretty soon. And he's been doing a lot of like MMA kind of stuff, jiu-jitsu.
Right. This is your military.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And so I told him from a very young age, I said, don't do what I did and start like pumping weights, right? Just stay lean, do lots of reps, lower weight. You're going to save yourself so much fucking time. And every time going to 2.2, watching him work out, I was like, God, I wish I had changed the way I did things, because I would much rather be lean and strong than big and strong. It's a total different way to move about your life. Functionality is just different, right? And I would much rather be able to do 50 butterfly pull-ups. Not that you could do that or not. Maybe you can, but then be able to clean and jerk, 250 pounds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would much rather have that. And when it comes to the functionality of day-to-day living, that's much more applicable to what we need to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's what I would rather be able to accomplish in my life.
Do you ever think that the way you see yourself, or the way that you are in the world, or how other people see you, that's how the world is to you? Like, other people look at me and they see me as this 230-pound, kind of a big, stocky guy who's silly once they get to know me. But if I was walking around 175 pounds... my world would be different. People would take me differently. Mm-hmm. I would see the world differently. But I see the world with fat lenses on. I almost think that's no.
I'm listening to what you're saying.
I mean, when you are a certain way, you expect people to react to you a certain way. And if you're really heavy, unathletic, I feel very unlimber, very like stiff kind of a guy. That's my world. And if I were to be healthy or at ease with nutrition and food, I'd be much more relaxed, and my interaction with people would be dramatically different. If I was 180 pounds, making all my meals from scratch, the way I would interact with Kent or the way I'd interact with you or Jay would be, I think, completely different.
You just talked about the idea that you just now are starting to get these, these ratings on for your healthcare. And you're just now realizing that, oh my God, now all of a sudden my body's shutting down saying, dude, we can't keep doing this anymore.
Right.
These
are all things that I've never had to even think about before.
But up to this point,
right.
You have. I mean, we're talking like the last 5 years.
I was stuck at like this 200-pound point since 2001. And only in the last couple of years have I really just taken off with my weight. And one of the reasons that it's profound to me, because when I go get adjusted at Kent's place at River Valley Chiropractic, which is, by the way, if you want to take a look at the screen, it is right there. Go to rivervalley.com.
There's Kent in his cute glasses. Oh, that wasn't
No,
him.
that's
Never
not
mind.
him. That's not Kent. But if you want, check that out. You know what I like about... I'll come back to my thought with why I made this. I'll just finish it now. Okay. So one of the things was I would go get adjusted, and I would think to myself, okay, I'm getting a massage before I get adjusted, and I am not proud of me without a shirt on right now. In 40 years, I'm one of the lucky ones. There's a lot of people that are insecure about how they look without their shirt on. In the last couple of years...
Sorry, go ahead.
It's the first time in the last couple of years that I am insecure without my shirt on. And it was just very profound. And it happened when I went to go get a massage. I was like, can I leave it? I was just thinking in my head, can I leave it on? But you know what? This is what I like about your profession and your business and your clinic is I had gone to see chiropractors since 97. When I got out of the military, I went to go see a chiropractor for the first time, and he was fine. He was great. And then I moved, and I had to go see a different one. And I would go in. I had dislocated a rib, I think. I couldn't twist. It would just take the wind right out of me. And I went to see the chiropractor at the time, and I said, listen, before you touch me, I cannot twist. So unless you're going to adjust me to fix whatever, I don't twist me because it just kills me. He goes, okay, twist. There was no relaxing of any muscles. There was no nothing. And I thought that I'm done. I'm never coming back to this guy. And then luckily, Kent was my neighbor. He used to live right by me, right down the street. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna check out Kent. And to go into your clinic and to go through a massage. Hey, what's your problem area? All right, let's relax that area. Let's cool it down so it's not freaking out and all tight. And then to be adjusted. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Completely different experience that I had at your chiropractic office than any other one that I've been through, that where it just felt like I was on an assembly line on my previous one. You walk in, oh, what's wrong with you?
See you.
Oh, fuck. I hope I feel better in an hour. No, I walk into yours, I get a massage. I'm like, I don't even know if I need adjusting right now, but if I do, I'm going to feel great.
Well, thank you very much. That's very nice.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't talk very much about the Ironman. We talked a little bit about the Arizona Ironman. Was there ever a spot during the run, bike, swim that you guys ever were like, you know what, this was a mother?
You know, it was actually before the race for me. You know, in Iowa, water's cold in October, November. So Kent, I don't know when we started swimming outside. He had swam once before me, and then I went, and I was like, you know, been training in the pool all the time, and I was like, we swam, I don't know how far Kent swam, but I swam maybe 500 yards, like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Because I had to swim. I swam my head up the whole way. I mean, the water probably was 55 degrees.
Oh my God, that's hard.
Yeah, and I was like, Kent, we got to come back. And the next time we came back, it was perfectly fine. Swam a lap, and I was like, at ease. You know, stress level went from here down to here, you know, really relaxed.
Because what happened? What changed?
Got calmed in the water.
Oh, okay.
So being in the water,
open
in
water,
Iowa, yeah.
Okay.
And I, I've done triathlons, but just that you get into water that's sub 60 degrees, it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like
hard to catch your breath.
Yeah. And then once I did that, it was pretty good. But the funny part that I find during the whole race, because it was the most amazing experience ever in my life. I told my wife after I got done, there was 4 or 5 things I'd always remember in my life: graduating Marine Corps boot camp, my kids being born, being married, and finishing an Ironman.
Wow.
Because it was that amazing. But, it's funny. Kent and I came out of the water essentially the same time.
Really?
Not knowing that. We both swam pretty much the same time. Bike almost the same time. And we were running together for a couple miles, and we were like, it's over. We got 9 hours to finish a marathon.
You got it.
It's done.
Yeah.
This is just cake on the, icing on the cake now. It's over.
Wow.
When I did a small sprint triathlon out at Palo, Big Man, right?
Yeah.
I there's no way I am a terrible swimmer. I mean, I'm not going to drown if I'm in a swimming pool for two. If I jump off the diving board into the deep end of the swimming pool, I'm not going to drown. I can get to the edge. But it's not one of those things where it's like, hey, tread water for an hour and 50 minutes. I would not have been able to swim. You son of a bitch! Just laugh at me. I would not have been able to do the little sprint triathlon if it wasn't for total immersion, and I have that up on the screen right now. Have you guys ever heard of total immersion swimming?
I've never watched it, but yeah, I've heard of
It gave me such a at ease in the water. It gave me the idea of body balance
Yeah.
in the water. And if you get tired, just slowly roll over onto your back, and then when you're ready, you're totally at ease. You get back into your freestyle swimming.
For 500 yards?
Yes. Yes. That's how bad of a swimmer I was.
The thing is, I had bailed on a 500-yard swim 6 months prior.
Really? 6 months before you did an
Was it
Ironman,
like
you bailed on a swim.
people or
Wasn't ready.
Oh,
I
really?
think the little chunky, little wetsuit. Just
Oh, yeah.
I told Ken, I was like,
breathe.
oh my God.
Just
Well,
mentally.
Yeah,
Probably. Just
mentally wasn't ready. Because the races, there'd be times where we were on our bike ride, we wouldn't talk for 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Just go.
Going.
But we were riding right next to each other and wouldn't say a word.
Wow. I was pretty happy when I told Katie Mario, who did Wisconsin, right? Ironman, that I did the Escape from Alcatraz swim in an hour and 15 minutes, but my mile and a half time's about 45 and out Palo.
Right.
Well, I went back and looked because our gym was asking for pictures to put on a wall of things that we've done. So my wife's like, oh, you should pull up some pictures from Alcatraz and give those. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. So I pulled up I was trying to get on their website and pulled up, and I did it in an hour and 6 minutes, not an hour and 15.
That was
it doesn't seem like
Olympic, right?
very much, but it's a mile and a half, but it's in the bay.
Okay, right.
So it's just insane.
Yeah.
Sharks.
But I do think that total immersion is one of those things where I couldn't, because the current was flowing so hard out of the bay, but the wind was blowing 5 and 4 foot caps back into the bay, that I could not swim like I normally swim. So I had to do 2 strokes and then look, and then 2 strokes, because I was drinking so much salt water. I remember sitting at one point and getting sick in the water. I was throwing up salt water because I had just drank so much. And I thought, he loves this story because
Sharks.
I thought I remember sitting there, and they tell you to stop and look at where you're at, because it's a beautiful area. I mean, the Golden Gate Bridge is right there, and San Francisco's right there. And they said, stop and look, and just take in where you're at. And I remember stopping, and I'm treading water, and I look, and there's a 4 or 5 foot rolling wave. There's not caps, they're just rolling. And there's one on this side. I can barely see Hoyt Tower in San Francisco. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking die if I don't start swimming. If I don't get going, this is not going to end well.
Right.
And I remember having it was not a big panic.
You had a wetsuit on,
It was,
right?
yeah, I had a wetsuit. I had a cap. I had socks. Don't do socks, by the way. Don't do socks.
Aquaman.
Yeah, don't do socks. And my socks weighted me down. They actually,
those things. I told you
they
those
threw
things
me
were-
off balance.
Yeah, those things
My
were
socks
horrible.
threw me off balance big time. The cap I was very happy to have. The socks, not so good. But I remember saying, if I don't go, I'm going to be in serious trouble. And in Alcatraz, they will pick you up. So if you can't make it and your time is kind of lacking and you're really getting out of sync with everybody else, they'll pick you up and dump you off at the right spot so you can experience a triathlon, which I think is wonderful.
Oh, that's amazing, yeah.
So I was pulled way down the coast to a huge beach. There's a beach just south of where you're supposed to exit at the yacht club. And I was swimming, and I was doing my line of sight of where I needed to go. And this kid in the kayak comes by, and he goes, how you feeling? And I said, I'm doing fine. And he goes, I said, how far am I off course? He's like, probably about 100 yards. I said, now, he goes, do you want me to pull you? And I said, can I make it from here And he goes, if you go towards that buoy hardcore, you'll make it. Otherwise, if you want to hold on to my kayak, I'll take you to the shore. I'm like, fuck that. Because I was like, all I cared about was the swim.
Right.
If I could do the swim, everything else I could get through.
Right.
And so I just busted ass towards this buoy. And I was about 100 yards off course. So some of the pictures that my wife took are me jogging up the coast with a lot of other people. I wasn't alone. But there's 400 or 500 people that were on some kind of ship, and they all jumped off the water into the water and ran into the steps.
Oh, funny.
You know? Yeah. But that whole idea of the panic that's involved with swimming,
Drowning.
yeah, but total immersion. Again, I give a lot of credit to that because I remember did the Pigman. I've told this story a couple times, but
sure.
I was on a plane going to Cleveland for business, and I was reading the USA Today, saw the Ironman competition, thought, well, that'd be fun to do a triathlon. How much fun would that be? Came home, Google anything local. Pigman came up, called them. All we have open is the half Ironman distance. I have no idea what that is. Sure, sign me up. I was the last one to leave the water because I breaststroked the entire thing. So the inside of my thighs are like...
Why did you have to breaststroke?
Because I didn't know how to swim.
No, there's another one.
Well, I didn't know how to swim, and I had a water ski wetsuit on and not a triathlon.
Scuba diving.
So I couldn't even put my arms above my head. I tried, and so I breaststroke. And as I'm coming in, this guy's
I love that part. I couldn't swim right if I tried.
That's like a major part of the story.
I was coming to the surf. I was coming to the shore. I'm like, am I the last one? And the guy's like, yeah, you are. And so I came to the shore and was trying to unzip this crazy thing. Because, I mean, wetsuits for water skiing are like almost like bodybuilding suits.
It's like powerlifting shirts.
Your
They're
arms
sewn
are like
a certain
this,
way so that
you
your
can-
body stays.
Yeah.
a certain
So I
way.
couldn't really put my arms above my head.
It was not a
It was not
triathlon
good.
wetsuit.
It wasn't good. But then I did total immersion, and that changed everything. Because even if you're tired and you can't swim very well, as long as you're balanced in the water, you feel comfortable.
Right.
So I saw a seal. That was really neat because I was sitting there bobbing in the water, and I looked over, and there's a little seal popped up like 10, 15 feet away. I was like,
See, now that would have made me shit my pants. Yeah, I'd be like, oh great, there's a seal, and what
Shark
likes to
has to be
what-
nearby.
Yeah, what likes to eat seals? Great whites, motherfucker. That would have been it. Yeah.
and Katie's already in for
Alcatraz. Yeah, I saw that.
God, that's
Yeah,
so
I mean,
awesome.
I never thought when we got done that I would say I would do another one. But I mean, it felt like $1 million and be like,
Oh, so you felt really good when you were done with it.
yeah, I was ready. I saw my wife and kids. We got our picture taken. I said, let's go home and go to bed. Tired. Been exercising for almost 13 hours. I mean,
And see, that's
felt great.
the idea it's part of it's the prep. Because I did Chicago Marathon in 2010. I didn't prepare very well.
10-10.
Yeah, 10,
Yeah,
10, 10.
so did I.
Yeah. I didn't prepare very well, so it took me 6 hours, right? I think. So, and I walked the last 6, which was a fucking 100 times worse than the 20 that I ran before
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Right? I was chafing like somebody had just skinned a cow. It was horrible. And so
I don't know what that means, but I'm imagining it's terrible.
I didn't prep very well.
Right.
And,
And that's
so that's what it has to be is I go through these things and there was like, oh, the beer tent's over here. And I'm like, I want to fucking die. Yeah. Don't give me a beer tent. But I would like to be able to do something and be like, I get done and go like, oh, I've prepared enough that yes, I'm exhausted. I'm tired, but I can walk around.
You want to do something to complete it and enjoy it. You don't want to do something and say, oh, I survived it.
Because that's what I told Ken. I thought, the
sure.
training plan that we did was unbelievable.
Because it was wonderful prep for that.
It told us exactly what to do by...
Was there a certain
Joe
website
Friel.
that you went?
I went through Training Peaks is where I log everything that I do, and they have programs you can buy. And we both had read books by Joe Friel, and I don't know his background. He trains athletes.
Sure.
And I decided, well, this is the one I want. It was first. I can't remember if it said complete your first Ironman. And I mean it told you what to do every day.
Really?
Yeah. And then I gave it to Kent and I says, this is what I'm following. And, it worked. I mean,
That was the key.
I don't know if I could have done it without because I wouldn't know what to do.
Did you use it as well? Did you use the same thing?
We're on the same training schedule.
Yeah.
So that way our bikes would end up the same at the end of the week.
Because that was the huge part.
We didn't
was
train
the
together
bike.
for the swim and the runs.
No.
Do you do CrossFit at all anymore or not really?
Just in my garage.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
He'll have people over and then destroy them.
Yeah, right.
I haven't done it, but you told me about your buddy who came over and said, hey, I really want to get into shape. And then he did it, and you're like, hey, what are you doing? We're not. You're not break.
Yeah, he was on
You
his
gotta
back.
keep
He was on
going.
his back within about probably 2.5 minutes.
That's funny.
Well, you know what? This is what I'm feeling from the vibe of the room. Are you ready?
It?
I'm feeling the
Are
vibe.
you throwing out a challenge?
Nope, I'm not.
Oh,
I fucking.
thank you,
I am.
God.
I am not throwing out a challenge. I'm not
There we
Denise Stapley, who fucking gets this all wrapped up in shit.
What? Oh yeah, no. Denise
Oh, yeah,
Stapley
because
will
you
say
did the
something.
Chicago thing, didn't you?
Yes.
No, we did the
Yeah.
Tough Mudder.
Tough Mudder. 'Cause and my wife did that too.
Right.
And we will
And
do
she
it
still,
again.
And she
We
still
will do it
thinks
again.
that my wife. I'm told. I said, if you hadn't been a CrossFitter, if you hadn't been in that idea that you can accomplish it, people are all supporting you. You can do it. She would have never done a Tough Mudder, but she fucking did a great job on it.
Sure.
Anyways,
What were you gonna say?
we're gonna do 30 days for Raw.
Yes, we are.
I say we work ourselves into the Gershwin.
Oh, the Gerson.
Gerson. Gershwin. Sorry, that's musicals.
Yeah, Gershwin is musical. Gerson.
Gerson, and then maybe we work our way into just we maybe hook up. Now you guys have done things with like Hy-Vee and stuff, right? Like nutritional kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe we work ourselves into that. So we do one thing to another, gradually work our way into it, and we plan on maybe like 2016 doing something like a half Ironman
See,
somewhere.
There's the challenge.
No,
I just said
dude,
he was going to challenge
shut
me with
the
something.
fuck up.
No,
I'm
but
just
the thing
saying
is,
that.
away from here.
Right,
That's
somewhere else.
What's the best
Something
thing?
beautiful, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because I'm doing Door County Ironman or half Ironman in July,
What's Door County?
Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah, which is just getting out of here because I told Ken after the Pigman half Ironman, I was running. I was miserable that day. Running at about 200 yards from the finish, and I was like, I will never run this fucking race again. And I've done it 4 times.
Because why?
The run is horrible.
Oh, okay. Hilly?
Because-
It's hardball surface.
Oh, it's hot as shit. Yeah.
Yeah. It was horrible.
Not the sprint. The sprint.
half.
Is,
But because
the
you
sprint is done as a very cool
because you train
atmosphere.
so well. I mean, why do you think you did an Ironman that wasn't near as bad as doing a half Iron?
I don't know.
Really?
See, I told him, I said he didn't know if he wanted to do another Tough Mudder. And I said, listen, I really enjoy just
It
the
was
camaraderie.
fun.
Yeah.
We had a really fun group. We would, we weren't trying to kill ourselves. There was, what do you think? How many people do you think there was? Like 12 or 15 people
group?
total? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty large group. Some of the people were really wanted to just kick it out and go fast. Fine. Take off.
See ya.
The rest of us run however fast you want, but when you get to an obstacle, just hang out. Just wait, chill out until everybody gets there. The rest of us get there. We all help each other get through the obstacles, and then we run as fast as you want again. Right. I thought it was really fun. I wanted to do another one. I just don't want to do another one in Chicago. I want a beautiful, amazing atmosphere. I want to look around and see mountains. I want to see
Denver.
things. I want to
Denver
see
be
things
great.
that I haven't seen.
Well, that was what's funny about Kent saying do Arizona because I was like, why would I go to Arizona? I can go to Wisconsin.
Right.
But it was probably the best thing to do was get out of here.
Right.
Get out of Iowa. The
Now, you
Midwest.
guys have already signed up for Louisville, right?
Yep.
Are you in for Louisville?
Yeah. I told Kent the plan.
The Shit River. You ready for that?
Yeah.
What's Shit River?
I guess
You
it's the river.
swim
I guess-
about a mile this way, and then you go around an island and come back down. That's the last part of it. The whole thing has signs that say, "Do not drink, fecal matter present." And about 5 to 6 people every year get super sick on the Ironman from that.
Yeah,
So keep your mouths
they also
closed.
say that about the Tough Mudders because the trails are all in
farms
Right.
farm fields.
Yeah.
You know, so
And we
whenever
did
you're
run
in
some
water-
really black water and black earth. That's for sure.
That's earthy.
So what do you think about that? So that's it's all gradual, and we don't have to do an Ironman. We could do a half.
It was
Yeah.
a challenge. I knew it was a challenge.
It's not a challenge. I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Here's the thing. The most important thing to me right now is come to terms with my diet and actually following through with what I know to be the correct course of action, which is juicing and blending and creating my own meals. And I think at first I just need to lose a lot of weight and then fall into a comfortable rhythm like what Kent is doing with,
what I
his,
just said.
with his
A
meals.
lifestyle change.
With
Yeah,
a
for sure.
But this would give us small little goals and little changes towards those goals of lifestyle.
Here's
changes.
the other
Yes?
thing. Here's the other thing. I'm not opposed to Ironmans, but my biggest worries for those types of events, one is swimming, because
You just talked about total immersion.
I know, but Tough Mudders, I get tired. I just walk. You don't just walk when you're in the middle of a swim. You get tired.
You just hang on to somebody.
Number 2.
Jay, hold on to Jay.
I mean, the support is unbelievable in those races.
And you can literally grab a kayak and get your breath and then start again.
Okay. Yeah. Number 2. Can I finish that? Hang on.
Hey, he interrupted you first. and you get
these are
his
big
shit.
challenges. The diet itself, is monumental because if everybody could easily control their diet, we wouldn't have obesity like it is. Right. So that's my first huge goal. If I can get down from 230 to 185, 190, below 200s,
you let me know.
It would be life altering.
Yeah, I agree.
But the big thing with the triathlon is the biking. Like around here, I'm so skittish to ride on the road.
We about got hit by a semi. That's why we went to Des Moines. But it's funny because, a group ride is
the best.
Yeah.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's fun.
Somebody else pushes you, and Kent would push me because I can't keep up with him.
Oh yeah, he's the biker.
Kent would know when our bike's getting close to being over because I would be out of there.
Yeah,
it's like, we're almost done.
Get this shit done.
Yeah.
If you
where did
guys,
that energy come from?
We're almost coming up on 3 hours.
I heard a lot of excuses.
Seriously?
Yeah, you did hear a lot of excuses.
That's the idea.
It's fast, right?
Yeah, it goes by quick. That's why I'm saying that if we have the 30-day raw...
not excuses. I'm just trying to be real.
Can I finish my thought?
If I can achieve those goals, I would be more open to that.
Your first goal is 30 days raw.
Yeah.
The second goal can be
really hard for me since I have maybe 5 candy bars a day, 4 sodas, and like 3 bags of chips.
But you're going to email me every day.
Yeah, but the thing is, that would be hard for me, and I don't eat anywhere close to that.
Right. Any of that raw for 30 would be difficult.
It would be very hard for me.
Yeah.
Think of it as like the running technique of you run for 4 and you walk for 1 minute. You run for 4 minutes, you walk for 1 minute.
Right. And that is
so think of it the baby steps.
Is it Jeff Galloway?
I think
right here, that website, Jeff Galloway.
So. Yeah. So I mean, I think of it that way. We're gonna do small incremental steps. We are baby stepping. So my idea, this is why I latched on to your, what's the guy's name?
Jeff Galloway. Gerson therapy
is that we do raw for 30, and then we do the Gerson kind of idea. But I mean, I cook a lot of fish and chicken and stuff at home. I do a lot of buffalo now too. So you start adding things back into your diet, but still following kind of an idea that might get us 4 to 6 months into an idea of where we are with like weight loss and how we're doing with adjusting to eating patterns and things like that. And then we can start thinking about doing something that'll be easier for us to do because we've lost weight or we feel better.
Yeah. Now the Gerson thing, I do want to say the Gerson thing is extreme. It's for curing cancer and any disease. It's very hardcore. Something funny that I had talked about with Kent one time when I went in to get adjusted was I said, what I'd love to do is like for 30 days, I wish I had no responsibilities. I wish I didn't have any kids. I wish I could leave.
I totally agree.
I wish I could go somewhere like the Gerson Institute that taught me how to eat, and I had no choice but to eat healthy for 30 days. Because I think after a certain amount of time, your body is so... Oh, well, we've gotten over it. We've detoxed. You've gotten over the cravings, and we've taught you how to take care of yourself. Who among us has the time because of our crazy nonstop schedule to really change who you are as drastically as what I'm trying to change? And you had said, didn't you say that? Yeah, I would love to do something like that.
Yeah, Shelly and I were talking about that. We thought it would be fun to have a retreat type place. Where you could come for like a week, because the same thing happens with us. People will ask us what they should do diet-wise. It's such a huge topic. And so that's why we started doing we just do those informational talks. But even with that, you're not one-on-one with somebody for long enough.
Sure.
To really show them how to do it.
Yeah.
And so you make all these suggestions, and Shelly started doing cooking classes, so she does cooking classes now.
At home or
at Hy-Vee?
At Hy-Vee. Oh, cool.
So she's gonna make up her schedule coming up. By the way, for this next year, I think she's gonna do 1 a quarter, or 1 every 3 months. Yeah, 1 a quarter. And so, but boy, it'd be nice to have the Biggest Loser camp, and not necessarily like a fat camp. I'm talking about just like there's a lot of sick, skinny people.
Oh,
There's a lot of sick, skinny people. Let me tell you. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be what you think of like a Biggest Loser camp, but it'd be more like a health camp. You know? So it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
Well, you have
sure.
places like you have Camp Tanager out on Mount Vernon Road. You have places that rent out those spaces. That if you, I don't know if you could meet every day, but find some way.
Here's, as your challenge talks, I just thought of this thing Kent told me him and I should do in California. What's it called?
It's the Marine Challenge, isn't it?
It's the Navy SEAL Challenge.
Because one of my questions was,
fuck
you and I had talked about. We had also talked about this. I brought up this idea before with Denny Stapley, the "what's next" mentality. Do either of you feel like you have this mentality? I think we've talked about this, and you definitely have this "what's next" mentality. You achieve a goal, and you're like immediately. You can't savor it for too long. You're immediately setting the next goal. Do you feel like that is healthy? And can it be unhealthy? Can it be a sign of unhealthy? Do you think?
I think it could become unhealthy if you think you have to win.
If you have to win.
Like we both went in this Ironman. Well, I thought I have unrealistic goals for some of my friends. And because I thought Ken, I was like, good runner, he could probably qualify for Hawaii.
Sure.
And that wasn't Ken's goal. And there's no way I would ever be able to. But it's like, when he told me about this thing, I graduated Marine Corps boot camp. I was like, why would I want somebody bossing me around for 3 days? I did that for 13 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
But I know I could do it. Because to me, the Ironman is so much mental more than physical. I mean, there's physical, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But then to think, okay, do an Ironman next year, do an Ironman in 16, do an Ironman 17, and then in 18, But I think it could come bad if you have to win.
If you have to win.
Right.
So you're just doing it to accomplish it. I mean, if it's your goal to do it because you do it every year, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get better, too.
Because when Ken and I talked about it, I asked Denise Stapley about it, but when I went and talked to Kent after that podcast, and I brought this subject up, and he was telling me, I feel almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to misquote you.
Sure.
I had gotten the feeling that you had said, I almost feel depressed if I'm not looking at the next challenge, because if I'm not moving forward, I'm just stagnant. And if I feel stagnant, then I get almost sad.
Yeah, well, there's a, I think it could be unhealthy. And I've thought about that question after you asked me that day. Because you said, well, is that healthy or unhealthy? And I thought, it's unhealthy. So my conclusion that I never shared with you, but I thought in my own head was, it is unhealthy if it starts taking away from family life, work life, spiritual life. Those are probably the big three for me. Taken away from like time with my friends, then it becomes unhealthy. I think if you can balance both of all that, and you can still train for something like Ironman, or half Ironman, or Tough Mudders, it's a healthy thing. I think that if you stop pursuing goals and trying, my challenge is I know how the human body operates. In a nutshell, I don't know I know enough to be dangerous, and so I feel as though my biggest challenge is what am I really capable of? What is the human body capable of? And if I can push that without sacrificing other areas of my life, then it's a healthy thing. If I start becoming obsessed by it, missing out on kids' programs, missing out on I go to church every Sunday with my family. If I start missing out on that, it starts cutting into that, it becomes unhealthy, I think.
Right. And I would agree. I had asked that question not because I necessarily thought that mentality was wrong or there was a problem with it, but I saw a lot of similarities between that, what's next. It was very parallel, I thought, with like an addict. I got to get my next fix type of a mentality. And there are a few people that I've known that are so obsessed with their diet or their what they're training for, how often they're working out. Hey, you want to go out tonight? No, in the gym. I got to spend X amount of time in the gym. I could see that being an unhealthy thing.
Exactly.
So, the making goals for yourself, I think, is a very, very healthy thing to do. But like what you said earlier, if it's impacting other things that are also extremely important, family, spiritual, time, it could be very negative.
I think the hard part is that I can talk myself out of just about anything. You know what I mean? The discipline that's involved. I don't know if it's like something that I never learned or that I haven't never given myself the chance to learn or gained as a person. But I can talk myself out of anything. I mean, it's like the cheat day thing I mentioned earlier. Okay, so I'll do this all week long, and I'll eat a box of ding dongs, or I'll do something crazy.
Think having somebody with you helps? Like
Absolutely.
Kent and I training together obviously helped me.
Helped me for sure.
You know, because we
talked about that many times.
Yeah, because was a stronger biker before I got injured. I'm still okay. You know, so riding together, you know, helped push each other.
Sure. Well, and that's why when he started poo-pooing it right away, I was like, God damn it. Because I do need...
sweet. You poo-pooed it.
I do need somebody that's going to kind of hold me accountable.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what I mean? As I mean, the best thing that's ever happened to me, to be honest, not to get on too crazy a CrossFit trip, is 2.2. Because I go in there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Usually,
I don't see you all the time.
Usually without the holidays, right? December time. I mean, like tomorrow, I'm probably not going to go because I'm going to be at my in-laws later on today, and we're going to be watching football and drinking beer, and I probably won't go in tomorrow. But normally, it's part of my routine. Right. It's one thing that I can count on in myself that I'm going to be there a certain amount of times a week, and I feel good about it. But if I'm going to have those big lofty goals, it feels better to have somebody to have those goals with. And so we're doing the Raw of 30. And so I was like, okay, well that's one step. That's 1 month.
Yeah, it's a big step.
So then what do we do? Can we do, Gerson for the next 4 or 5? So like it's 6 months in. Maybe we've seen a huge loss in weight and we feel better healthy wise. So then we're like, okay, well, now that we have all that weight out that was part of our big problem, so now can we shoot for what's our next goal to go for? Because I mean, we spend a fucking shitload of time together.
Unfortunately,
right?
Yeah.
I said fortunately.
Oh, sorry.
And so I mean, that would be a person that I wanted to do that with.
Oh yeah.
So I think that person to do things with is it's an accountability thing for me too.
Yeah. We're almost like yin and yang. He's very optimistic. I'm very pessimistic. You're idealistic. I'm a realist. The reason I even think about the Gerson therapy is
because you want to put things in your butt. You want to put coffee in your butt. That's the only difference. That's what you said was the only difference.
No. It is maybe, possibly, treatment-wise, the only difference. But the reason why I'm thinking of it is because I think of the Raw for 30 as getting more into a healthy way of eating habit. Sure. But I can just, like, you look at your skin as you get older. I think I've kind of hit that official midlife crisis, where you can't not see things anymore. You can't fool yourself and say, oh, that's not an age spot. And when I think of eating healthier, that's one thing. When I think of the Gerson, the only reason I even injected this Gerson Institute way of thinking was I almost feel like I'm becoming diseased. Like this body is so sick that maybe just eating raw for 30 might not do it. Now, if it does it, if I finish the 30 days raw successfully and I feel great, I did a juice fast. Did you ever see the YouTube video, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead?
Mm-hmm. It's on HBO.
You did
too.
see it? Mm-hmm. Check it out on YouTube. It's free. It's Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And so I did this juice fast for 9 days. I couldn't do 10. My wife had lasagna and spaghetti and garlic.
Day.
I know, 1 day, right? So I did it 9 days, but there was like significant mind altering times during that 9 days. I thought one very specific time I was at work thinking, I eat a lot. I don't need to eat a lot. I've had these juices. I'm not worried about not having the nutrients because I'm getting it all from these juices, and I feel great. I don't feel bloated. I've lost like 16 pounds. I feel wonderful. Why do I eat all those things? Why do I live my life a different way? Why can't I just continue doing what I'm doing right now? Because right now is so great, clear of thought, very relaxed. And it was just, I have very rarely in my life ever had that type of clarity. And I was just telling Todd today, I'm like, dude, I really need to change. He goes, why do you need to change so much? I go, because I feel muddied. My thought process is like slowed. I have a hard time like keeping things straight. I'm very all over the place. I say to myself, okay, tomorrow I have the day off. I need to do X, Y, and Z. Did I get X, Y, and Z done? No. Why? Well, because I had to feed the bunnies, and then I had to put the pants way over there. I had to do the dishes over here, and then while I was doing the dishes over here,
the pants way over there.
I needed to do that away, and you know what I'm saying? So I was all over the place.
You gave yourself excuses, is what you did.
Yep.
You're right. I gave myself excuses, but I also I don't have that clarity of mind that I think eating clean for that long would give me. Anyway.
Well, my idea was that we baby step it. So if we can pull off 30 days, we do a next step that's one level past. That's why I thought that Gerson was awesome.
I tell you what, I would be very proud of myself, and I think Kent would be very surprised because I've been talking about my diet for a long time. If I can actually pull this off and fall into that lifestyle, I think Kent would be proud of me, and that would be a huge thing for me. Let me ask you a few things before we go, because it's almost been 3 hours and it's zipped by. This is kind of opening yourself up. If you want to answer it, great. If not, don't worry about it. But it's going to be the yin-yang questions that we talked about before the recording started.
You can always say fuck off.
Yeah, just say fuck off. Kent, what are a few things that you're grateful for outside of family and friends?
Jay Heater, he's my hero.
Besides family and friends, what do you?
You know what? You touched on it earlier. I'm really grateful that that I get to make a living doing what I do. Like I actually look forward to going to work. I look forward to. You asked earlier, like, do people react to you differently, or do you think how people see you? Mm-hmm. I can't remember the exact way you phrased it, but or how we view you. Like you might think that I view you in a different way than what I view you. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So it's fun, my job is probably my biggest. I just love it. I love going. I don't dread it. I look forward to tomorrow. I get to go into work tomorrow and start working, because I view you're asking a question. I view just giving people hope and encouraging them that, hey, look, your health, your true health, you have complete control of. We know that 85 to 90% of all chronic diseases is lifestyle related. That's a fact. So. Well, you have a lot of control. And so I think a lot of people come in down and discouraged. And so it's kind of fun to try to change their thinking, So I'm really thankful for that.
Well, that's awesome. Because I actually, when I leave your place, not one memory of leaving your practice have I ever had like a frown or I'm sad or anything. I always walk out of there with a big smile on my face because we have kind of fun conversations about your joggles. Else, right?
Yeah, I have some great invention ideas. In case there's anybody listening right now that wants to fund some really good ideas, I have a couple.
Well, joggles.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a
sounds great.
Crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding for your joggles.
Yeah.
Jay, what do you think? What are a few things?
I was sitting there listening to Kent. One thing, is always look back. Sorry, I'm getting a hamstring cramp.
I have the same thing.
Living in this country. I prior military, spent 6 months on deployment throughout Asia and the Middle East, and then went back to the Middle East when I was in North Carolina. So, seeing how other countries live in third world countries, very thankful for being born and raised in this country. Because, I can do whatever I want as long as it's legal. Yeah. I always sit back and, you see what's on the TVs, and it's like, I couldn't imagine.
And I
going
think a
out
lot of
wondering
people
if I'm
take
going
for
to
granted
get
that.
when I'm going to get blown up.
Sure.
It's just
Right.
so being in the military, I think really put that perspective, seeing the third world countries on how they live, versus the lifestyles that we have here that we have.
Yeah.
You've talked about that too, because he was in Haiti for a while with the Army.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think being in the military, or I don't think you need to be in the military, but that was the route. That was
Being
the easiest
exposed,
route.
right?
Yeah. You have to expose yourself to other cultures and other continents, because not every place is like Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Well, I mean, it's like I told my wife, I went in when I was 21 and literally had been around the world, tip to tip, coast to coast, and by the time I was 25. I drove from Iowa to California, got on a boat and went to Kuwait and came back, drove to North Carolina, back in Kuwait, same exact spot. It's like just amazing what you see, and kind of opens your eyes,
Sure.
Military is not the best living, but
Right.
seeing and coming back makes you grateful.
It's an experience. It's an adventure.
When did
it's
you
not
join?
a fun adventure all the
It was
time.
in 94 to 98.
Okay.
So during peace times, but
Okay.
went to Kuwait twice.
Yeah, I was in 96 to 90, 96 to 99.
Yeah.
95 to 98, something like that.
It's odd that you look at me and I get reassurance for that.
Yeah.
timeline.
Well, that's when we met. We met right before I went in the military, and
So yeah.
best friends ever since. Can't believe that shit. Anyway, okay. Hey, another question. I won't ask them all. Something you love it when people ask you, Kent. What's something you love it when people ask you? Is there anything?
Why are you so handsome?
He's so ruggedly handsome.
He is. He's really
Sexy.
handsome.
I love it when, boy, that's good.
Come on, dog.
We found some good ones. We did find some good ones that we thought people would really have to think about.
From now on, we're going to email these questions to people
Yeah,
before they come on, so they
No,
can actually.
no, we're not.
No.
I'm
No.
going to.
Takes the fun
Yeah.
away
It
from
takes the
it.
fun away from it.
Yeah.
Em,
It does. It
All
does.
right. Put you on the spot.
shut the fuck up.
You need that knee jerk. What are you truly thinking?
Well, my knee jerk was I always like when people ask me about my family, my kids, and what they've been up to, because it gives me a chance to share kind of like what else we're doing outside of like what Shelly and I do, you know, because a lot of what we do spill over to our kids in many ways, and it's kind of fun to watch them walk down the same path, as yourself. And certain things, and so I'd say that's my favorite. Asking about my family, asking about my kids.
I like that.
Jay?
That is a tough one. But I think for me, it's more, people that I work with see what I do outside of work, whether it's CrossFit or whether it's running a marathon or doing the Ironman, asking me, how do you do that? And how do you train for that? Or what can I do? And I like, there's some people that I work with that are way off the charts.
Sure.
And it's always boiled down to me as they ask me, and I'm like, until you make the change. Like I hear you guys talking about the 30-day thing and the coffee thing, which I don't want any part of.
Good for you.
But it's about somebody asking those things and then hoping they, you have to make the change. You have to want to make the change. I can give you a workout to do. I can tell you what I do, but until you make that lifestyle change, it's not going to matter one bit. You're still going to be overweight.
Yeah. Yeah.
For people. So, because people see what I do in where I work, and it's always interesting, when they ask those questions to me, and I'm like, oh, open book. I'll tell you, I don't have any secrets, but trying to help somebody, trying to get healthy, even though, I don't live the healthiest lifestyle, but, trying to help somebody else, do something like that to get healthy,
Now, what is it? Is there a question that you're like, oh, fuck.
Like the ones we asked.
Please don't ever ask me that question again. What is there something that people come to you with and they ask you and you're just like, it's just a raw nerve.
As a
Don't ask me
chiropractor,
about
it's going to
that.
be a couple of those.
It's just old. I'm done with it.
As a doctor, you've got to have a couple that you're just like,
It doesn't
come
have
on,
to
you
be
guys.
from the chiropractor. It doesn't have to be from the office. You don't have to go there. But is there anything that people are like, I'm just so sick of answering this question?
Yeah, it all has to do with just what we've been talking about.
3 hours.
Is there a pill that I can take to lose weight? Yeah, something like that.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like, what can I do to drop like 10 pounds? I'm like,
What miracle do you have?
What do you do Yeah, like what do you and Shelly eat? Like what? I'm like, oh my gosh. You ask me this every time you come in. Like,
Really?
This is how it works. This is why I can't, it's like, it gets old.
The excuses.
It's like what Jay's saying. You
can feed him. You can feed the horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
And it gets to the point where you're just,
You need to check somebody.
I know for a fact I've asked him at least 4 or 5 times. I've been seeing Kent for a while now, and I know I've said the same thing over and over again. I am one of the ones. I am one of the ones that have said,
start charging you more.
Dude,
Yeah.
I know I've gained weight. Kent's like,
and I always say the same thing.
He always says the same thing.
That's what you need to do.
But you know what? I'm never going to ask that again. So for the people listening to the podcast, guess what? Take a hint.
It's time to.
You've asked that question. Let's move on.
Well, the hard part is a similar situation is that I went to Kent to get chiropractor stuff done. Before I even got to see him, Shelly said, "Hey, your insurance isn't covered by us. We're not part of that same group or whatever it is."
Yeah.
And I was like, "So what would it be otherwise?" And she told me. I was like, "Oh, fuck, can't do it. Sorry." And it was one of those things where I would like to give you my money. I want to give, you want to give people your money. If you're going to spend money somewhere, you want to give it to somebody
people you know and you trust.
I mean, I've been really disappointed from that.
Yeah, that's like,
oh fuck.
Yeah, because I've went to see Ken a couple of times, and totally against chiropractic. Just because you hear people, I go to the chiropractor all the time. And Kent didn't adjust me once. Yeah. He didn't. And I told him what was going on, and it was all of a sudden, hold your breath, lean back, pop, boom, done. Didn't you hear the? You go to other places, and it's like it's nice. I know, I trust him.
Yeah.
And that's other people, like you said, it's the factory, whip them out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, and to me, it's all about location because Jody Ludwig, who has Wapsie Chiropractic in Anamosa, I've known her since we were in 7th or 8th grade, something like that. And Dave Huber here in town as well. So his CrossFit gym across the hall from his freaking office. It's so weird. But it's about who you know and who you trust. I mean, that's all it really comes down to for me. Is that, and you're super close to my house, so I was like, oh, if I could just get in there, I'd be so close. Because my wife and I was like, getting a massage once a month or twice a month, or getting adjusted once a month is a proactive way of dealing with your health. But we don't do that. We just don't do that.
I mean, I almost feel like you would be out of business if everybody did yoga and ate right. And just stayed active. I almost feel like chiropractors would almost be out of business. Yes, there would be still those, oh God, something went out. I slept wrong. But like for me personally, I'm so tight. My muscles are so tight, so tense.
Hamstrings like bass strings.
Along with the, what did you just say?
Yeah, hamstrings like bass strings.
Yes. Ding, ding. That with my diet, I know adds a lot to why I need to go and get adjusted. But yeah. Things that
the question.
What do people ask you?
Repetitive question. I mean, just like, it's the same thing. It's not just a point, about, for me at work, don't ask me the same thing 10 times.
Is it like CrossFit or is it like triathlons?
Or
what is
just
it?
Work. I could talk about CrossFit, triathlons, till I'm blue in the face, but at work, don't ask me the same thing 10 times.
Now you're talking about people who are calling in, or are you talking about coworkers?
Coworkers.
You better go on the next question.
Yeah.
He's going to get pissed.
We got another hour.
Thinking about it. I'm angry.
Kent's giving me the...
Somebody might listen to this and works with Jay. Let's go on the next question.
Kent knows.
It'd be a good thing. Your coworkers are going to see this and go, oh, shit, I'm one of those guys.
Is there, either one of you, I'll just ask one more question, then we're going to wrap things up. Is there anything that you guys enjoy doing that you think that people who know you would be surprised that you enjoy? Or are you an open book? Is there something that you keep to yourselves that you
Tentacle
enjoy?
porn, correct? You've been bringing up.
That was
Cards Against Humanity.
Jay.
Sorry,
right.
But mine would be for because I'm the jerk on the outside until you break the barrier, and then it's
then you're
definitely
sweetie.
my yeah. They think.
Why would you say that?
They think because I put a hard shell up until you break the walls down. I just don't let anybody in.
I will say, even with you being injured at CrossFit 2.2, and when I was in there and I would see you, I would maybe touch on your outer circle,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
But I would not engage you openly because I was just like, okay, he's injured and he's still fucking in here. He's got a brace around his leg. Yeah. He's doing stuff and he is all business all the time. I'm going to leave him alone.
Yeah, because
you and I had conversations right away.
But there's a lot of people that, I put up that rough shell with, because a lot of people that I work with or some of my friends are take.
Oh.
That doesn't go well with me. So I, put up that hard shell, and then, it's like this receptionist that works for me. She wears those big boots, and I ask her every day if she's going to go out and feed her horse.
You and asshole.
But then then people know that I'm going to joke around with you if I like you, and you're
sure,
But I put up that big barrier right away. Until I get to know you.
Well, I was going to say, that's good to know, because I just never thought of you that way.
Yeah.
So that's...
Well, you don't think of me as being in prison, but there's
that's
other...
where the coffee is?
You know what you should do? Yeah. You should diminish what I just said.
I'm not trying to diminish it. I'm just saying that you wouldn't think of me a certain way either, but there's people that have met me or have been around me for a couple of weeks at a time, like Nick Snavely, who I started working with years ago, who said, dude, I honestly didn't approach you because I thought you had been in prison. Because you just have that look about you, and when you were so quiet,
you want to rape some guy?
Yeah, I want to rape some guy. That's what. That's shut up. Okay, last question, and then we're gonna wrap things up. Is there anything that you did? I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, fine. I lied. Last thing. Is there anything that you feel like you are nervous about that you're almost afraid of doing? Challenge-wise. Oh. Challenge-wise. I'm not... He was talking about anal stuff.
Oh, it's funny you say that. It's like, because I put up Christmas lights, and I told my wife, all I think about when I'm on the roof putting up Christmas lights is man falls to death putting up Christmas lights. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of falling.
You're afraid that your insurance wouldn't cover it? Oh.
He knows his own network.
Any challenge? I mean, you guys have done the Ironman. Is there anything that you think, the marine thing, are you nervous at all about doing it? You're nervous. Are you nervous about it, or you just don't want to be a part of it?
I'm nervous about it. I would be nervous.
Did you already do them? Did you already talk about it? Please tell us more, because I want to know about it. Because I have a feeling
you'd have to pull up a Mark Devine.
Mark Devine.
Yeah.
Huh? All right, I'll pull this up.
Kent was telling me about it. I'm like, are you crazy?
So what is it?
It's like he's a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
It's like Hell Week. Yeah.
It's ran by Navy SEALs, and so SEAL Fit. It's called SEAL Fit Coaching. There you go. And then he has the events. Go to the events tab.
Is it a week? It's a week long.
It's actually no. They try to mimic the Hell Week, which is like usually 5. It's 5 days, right? It is the Kokoro camp. There it is. That's it.
I'm already getting butterflies in my stomach.
The 50-hour. That's it.
Jeez.
50 hours.
50 hours. So really no sleep. No. So it's supposed to mimic kind of their Hell Week, but obviously not the whole thing.
And you thought Go Ruck was tough.
So I thought that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, and I talked to Ken about Go Ruck.
You did it?
Mm-hmm.
I did the Go Ruck, but I did the
6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, I did like the there's different levels of the Go Ruck challenge, and I did the barest minimal Go Ruck thing. And again, I did it not being I don't take anything seriously. Like I did the Tough Mudder and I ran twice. I actually jogged on the road twice, no more than 2 miles, before I did a 12-mile Tough Mudder. Again, I didn't do anything before I went and did the Go Ruck. And putting yourself, and you can appreciate this, putting yourself back into like a basic training mentality, because I was in the Army, airborne, getting yelled at, and just that psychological mind screw of, I don't have control over when I'm done. That idea of not being in control of when you're done or not knowing what's next is so
horrible.
It is so paralyzed. It's so paralyzing to me that I don't want to put myself back in. So I did the Go Ruck. Could I do it again? Yeah, absolutely. I could do it again for sure. Do I want to? Do I get a great pleasure from doing it? No, not at all. Do I think it's necessary for people to see what their mental toughness is? Absolutely. And I think that you can get that, though, through being in CrossFit. Because I think CrossFit, the workouts from the handful that I went and actually did, is a lot like that. You know it's going to happen, but you have somebody going, go, 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 go. Let's go. Come on. Let's keep the form right. But I'm going to push you until you're done. Yeah, you have a big family atmosphere, but CrossFit, triathlons, all those things have such a mental factor to it that I think more people need to experience that mental toughness.
And so this thing looks like that or seems like that. 50 hours of somebody yelling at me does not sound fun. I wasn't in the military.
This would definitely be something that would be extremely challenging. You know,
it's the mental part. My son, Junior was in boot camp, and it's Air Force boot camp. He said it's like everybody's boot camp. I don't agree with that. No, I don't but he says now it is. But
no. I know yours is. I know yours is more difficult, and then I would say Army, and then I think Air Force and Navy.
Anyways, he talked about the stress of that. That was the hard part. But I just.
But I think hard. A lot of it is, boot camp wasn't that hard for me, just based on how I was brought up.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't easy living in the Heater household.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think a lot of that, the mental toughness starts when you're, small.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And see, I raise pussies. That's what I think it is. Is that Junior was a homebody. He said the worst part of boot camp wasn't the physical aspect of it. He was laying in bed, looking at the cracks in the wall, going, "Oh my God, I want to be home with my dad and my mom." That was the hard part for him. Yeah. I have a feeling it'd be the same thing for my other kids.
It's fine. I never thought about leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mental.
See, that's the part that honestly, that's the part that scares me. Because I raise pussies, it makes me feel like, you know what? You break down certain parts of it. I might not be able to handle the mental part. Right. I could walk the marathon. I did a marathon in 6 hours. I could push myself to the end.
Maybe because this guy he's the one that came up with Seal Fit. Okay, so it's like CrossFit taken on steroids, but maybe that's the thing for 2016. Maybe we should, the four of us, should head on out there to, I think it's Encinitas, California.
Always with the challenges.
And then
it's a good place to throw them out there, isn't it? This is what I'll say to you. This is what I'll say.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm already fucking stressing out about it.
Now, I tried to drag him into the Go Ruck, but
I couldn't do it.
Why? He just happened to get hurt.
You asshole. I tore my hamstring.
Yeah.
You're such a
you
dick.
just did it recently?
I did it just this last fall.
Yeah, because I
just
knew
this
you
last
got
fall.
hurt.
I got hurt, and that was Denise had challenged us to that, and I was like, "Oh God damn it!" But then, of course, I was like,
"Did she do it?"
Yeah, she did.
She did. Yeah, her and I'll put a bunch of photos on
this little challenge.
Oh,
you know
dude,
what?
she's
a fucking firecracker. She would laugh while she's doing it. In fact, when we start doing the Go Ruck thing, she goes, "Do you hate me?" I'm like, "No, I don't hate you." But if you weren't here, I don't, because you're looking at this woman who's like $110, and she's doing it, and I'm thinking, why am I having such a hard? It's so much mental, and don't go into it not preparing yourself for it. It's you do yourself such a disservice by not training for something, and at least going into it going, okay, you know what? It's going to be tough. It's going to be really hard. I just have to go through it, but I know physically I can do it. Why? Because I've trained. Like you guys trained for your Ironman. You know you can physically do it. You just have to mentally get through it.
Well, the thing with Denise's stuff.
God, I'm just agonizing over this.
I don't think I could do. I don't think I could do the Survivor show.
Oh, yeah, I could. That'd be awesome.
I don't think I could. I need a bed.
Pussy.
I mean, you see how much it rained when she was on
8 hours of sleep a day.
Freaking just raining like crazy. You're always
swear,
wet. Eating bugs and twigs.
Okay, this is what I'll say.
You know it was bad when she was crying. Have you seen the last episode with her when she got bit on the face like 2 days before they were done?
And they don't know what she has no idea to this day what bit her or what stung her.
But she's on the beach going, I don't know what happened, but she's like crying, going, she's not sure she can finish. And she's got 2 days left, and she got bit by a bug on her face. Something. She assumes it was a bug.
Okay, this is what I'll say.
All right.
If we take baby steps and you help me, because I'm honestly going to try really hard to satisfy my own goals.
Yes.
What's that?
He'll be helping all of us. Because I need help too. If I can get to where I want to be personally, I
feel like mentally and physically I would be up for that challenge.
Me too.
So if I can get to my goals
Yes.
and I can
2016,
stay close with
2016
you guys.
is far enough away that ups and downs
Yeah.
Yeah.
to push through.
But how do we know what your goals are?
Well, I'm going to post them on TPSP Productions
All right.
Facebook page. And you know what? That'd be a good way to roll us on out of here. We have a lot of
God.
sponsors. Please stay tuned and listen to the sponsors. But thank you very much, Kent, Jay, for being in today,
Thank you.
talking to us about health, talking to us about the Ironman experience. And
The best part about this is I didn't know you were in the Marines. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize that. That's kind of neat.
And also, you can check things out. If you want to check out Kent, go to the CairoRiverValley.com. Set up an appointment. Are you taking people?
Yeah.
All right. Because you're an awesome chiropractor. I didn't know if you were so booked with clients.
Well, we get them better.
You're like, hey.
We get them better, so they move on.
they move on.
So there's room
That's
for
right.
others.
God, how often can you say that? You can't really say that. A lot of people can't say that. We get them healthy so they can move on.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Not repeat customers. And I think that's what my old chiropractor used to do. We didn't even talk about Team Hoyt, the dad pushing the son. God damn, that's emotional.
I'm reading
and
that book right
inspiring.
now.
The
I'm
thing
reading
was,
the,
Tearjerker.
In the Ironman Kent and I did, there was a blind man that did the Ironman.
Are you shitting me?
No,
Yeah.
I am not.
He
shitting
could be
you.
5 feet offshore and think he's in the middle of the ocean.
There was a person swam, bike, and ran with him.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
That's so inspiring. So inspiring.
Yeah.
Even more of a pussy now. God. Jeez Louise.
Tweaked his hamstring.
Yeah.
That's right. Tweak my hamstring. I can't go do a go ruck with you. Fuck off. I went to CrossFit with my hamstring hurt. Thank you very much.
Hey, we also talked about a book that Selling Sickness by Ray. How you say that? How you
I
say
have no
that?
idea.
I have no idea.
Moynihan?
Moynihan. Selling Sickness, How the World's Biggest Pharmaceutical Companies Are Turning Us All Into Patients. Check that out. Kent thought it was pretty neat.
Great book.
I'll check that out also. Also, check out Time, the issue of Time, Health and Family, Bitter Pill, My Medical Bills Are Killing Us. Or Why Medical Bills Are Killing Us. That's what the
Yours
title
are
is.
killing us too.
You're killing me. Patient, Heal Thyself. That's a great book. So Kent says, I also read the Maker's Diet, which is also written by Jordan Rubin, which is a pretty great read. I thought of it as just a diet book, but the story that goes along with the recipes and everything else is really inspiring. We don't have to talk about that, but we have all the Total Immersion. If you're nervous at all about being in the water, I felt Total Immersion helped me out quite a bit. They're not a sponsor, but I think they're a pretty fucking cool way to learn how to swim. So check that out. And then, of course, Kent's going to challenge me and Todd to the Seal Fit thing. I hope I'm mentally in a better
vacation
place.
to California.
Yeah, hey, we get to travel, right?
Stay with my family.
There we go. No, that in itself is like a SEAL mental challenge right there.
It'd be alcohol training. That's
Yeah.
what it would be.
Yeah, maybe I'll get my medical marijuana license while I'm out there. Anyway, that's it for the Primal Scream today. I'm Matt.
Am I going to do TPSC Productions and let you know all that
Go
shit?
ahead,
Or are you
go
just
ahead
going to
and
do what the fuck
No,
you want to
you know
do?
what? Listen, how about this? Kent, Jay, thank you very much for being here again.
Thank you.
Todd,
Yes.
do your spiel. You want to talk?
If you want to follow us, go to tpspproductions.com. While you're on there, you can follow us on iTunes. Make sure you subscribe and you review us. Give us some feedback. You can also go to Stitcher and listen to us on as well on there. Facebook, like us, follow us on Facebook. YouTube, you can see how handsome these two gentlemen are on YouTube because it's all on video. Follow us on Twitter. We tweet quite a bit. And then the best way to follow us is go to tpspproductions.com, and you can watch everything on that website. While you're at tpspproductions.com,
Please take a breath. Breathe.
Matt and his partner have a bunch of podcasts, a bunch of
Co-producer?
things going on. You can follow the Count of 10 podcast. You can follow the Bandwagon podcast. And from
Yeah,
what I've
they're
been told,
back.
a lot more that are happening.
They're back. The Bandwagon podcast are back from their little hiatus.
Awesome.
Every 2 weeks on Friday. Check them out. That's it. Check out our sponsors after this. I'm Matt.
I'm Todd.
Thank you guys very much for
Thank
being
you.
in.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.
Adios.
Good night.
That's it.
getting some major
Gotta stretch.
No, you said 3 hours. I'm trying it out.
It's just it's under 3 hours. But still, like, you
Well, we started it probably
started
15
earlier.
minutes. We started
did
the
some
recording.
commercials before.